Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. It's Manchester United versus Brighton in what is a must-win game for Manchester United today. So how are you all feeling about it? I'm going to go into it with positivity, because I think if you don't have the positivity, you don't have the positivity. And I know that's an obvious thing, but look, there's a lot of negativity around Manchester United. We're about to go into an international break. We're 14th in the league. If we win, we can go up to 7th. We'll talk about that in a moment. But the team news is in, and it is the team news that we all pretty much predicted. He has played Brandon Williams at left back. We've got Wan-Bissaka, we've got Lindelof, and we've got Maguire, and we've got McTominay, Fred, Pereira, with Rashford, Martial, and James, and De Gea. Without question, this is our best team at the moment, isn't it? I don't think anybody can deny that. Good to see that Lindelof, Maguire and McTominay are all playing, because all of them have had injury issues. Interesting that Andreas Pereira starts. He's had a lot of criticism lately, but I would play Pereira over Lingard, and I think that again shows positivity from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. The bench has Romero, Phil Jones, Marcus Rojo, Mata, Lingard, Garner and Greenwood. So to me, that bench really isn't that good, apart from Mason Greenwood. I mean Jimmy Garner, we've not really seen enough of him yet. Still a very young player. Good to see him on the bench. Lingard, Mata, I don't really know what they would give us if we were in trouble. And Rojo and Jones are, the new Chuckle brothers, aren't they? So, but no, seriously, Rojo's been doing quite well at the moment. But I'm happy with that team. I feel it has to be enough to beat Brighton. I think that a lot of people are happy that Pereira is playing over Lingard, like me. Marcus Cavernan says, I think Martial will score at least one goal. I fancy Manchester United to win today. I do. I think we've had so many bad things happen this season that I just can't really. I'm not saying it's not going to happen, because we all know it can happen, but I think losing away to West Ham, losing to Palace at home, that was an odd game. I think to come into a game where some people are thinking we might lose, and to actually lose to Brighton, I think is another thing, and I don't think we'll do that. I do think that. You can almost it's a bit like when you're watching a film. You can almost get a feel of how the film's going to go for a little bit, can't you? And I don't feel that we're at the end of this film, which is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's Manchester United career. And I do feel that this is not going to be a major event in this film. I think we're sort of around the middle at the moment, and I don't think we're going to get a major shock. I think we will beat Brighton. I think we'll go into an international break where, over that international break, the club will keep spurting out their positivity about signings, etc. And then we're going to come back after the international break and have a very, very tough game against Sheffield United away from home. And then I think we're going to go into that period after the international break to Christmas, where we're really going to find out whether this set of players, this manager, this ownership is right for Manchester United. Because I don't see today being a bad result. I may be totally wrong, I just don't. I think we will get some positivity today. Greenwood should have played today ahead of Andreas Pereira, says Rabani. But look, if you look at the team on the left, and that is the confirmed team, where would Greenwood fit in? Dan James was rested for this game, which I think we should have rested a few more players. So Dan James plays. Very happy with that lineup, Mark, says Ethan Wall. And there are better players in the Championship for CAM role, says Greg Lester. And Maguire is captain, says Nerman Palais. Yeah, which is good. No Ashley Young. I think it will be 4-0, says Michael Knighton. And hey, Mark, let's hope this team can get a win, says James Byrne. The interesting thing in this game is, and we touched on it the other day as well, is that we played too many players on Thursday night. And that's the only thing that worries me a little bit. We didn't play too many players. I'm not saying we should have played 7. It's an 11-a-side game. But we played too many first teamers. And McTominay had a knock. And you worry about that knock. You worry about the fact that he played a long time. Fred played as well. Maguire played. Wan-Bissaka played. Martial, Rashford. We played a lot of our first teamers in that game. And I just wonder. I don't know much about Brighton. I really don't. I don't know much about how they're going to play. I don't know how energetic they're going to be. I don't know whether they're going to be better than us on the ball. But we need to get a hold of this game. I think it's really important. I think Ollie said it himself. In the first 10 minutes, we've got to be energetic, and we've got to not let Brighton get a foothold in this game. If we can get an early goal, great. It's not partisan. I think the early goal against them meant the game was over. I think against Brighton, you look at their results. The amazing thing about Brighton, and let me just do, how are you watching the match, Mark, says Kane Harris. Yeah, we'll come back to that. It's funny, I was messaging Drawty earlier. This is a game that is not on the telly again for Manchester United, which is always odd, I think, for a Sunday. So yeah, it's not on the telly, but as I say, we will be having you totally up to date on the United stand, as we always do. We never don't do a watch along. I'll be listening to it on the radio as well, so we'll be absolutely bang on, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of people in the live comments as usual. This is going to be a really hard game, says Wister. Does Ollie have to go today if we lose, says Robert Moore. Yeah, I don't think we're going to lose today. I think worst case scenario we'll draw. I can't see us losing this game. I just can't. I think this is... Remember when Mourinho played Newcastle and we were 2-0 down at half-time and everyone thought he was going to get sacked, and then he won 3-2? That was right before an international break. I think today could be like that. Even if Brighton had a brilliant first half and went in 2-0 at half-time, I think we'd come back and get a result. I don't see it happening today. But hypothetically, I mean, let's have a look at this, because you raise a good point. If you look at the table as it stands at the moment, my score prediction, Reece Goatley, is going to be Manchester United to win 3-1. But there's the league table as it stands at the moment. Some people have only played 12 games. Look at Brighton in 8th place. If they won today, Brighton would go up to 18 points, which would put them in 5th place. 5th place, and nobody else is going to play to take 5th place away from them. So Brighton, if they win today, go to 5th and stay 5th in the November international break. I tipped Brighton to go down. So that's how significant a result for Brighton would be if they were to win today. They would go into 5th place. So, and we have, this is game 12, so it's not luck. Game 12 is exactly, it's not even, we're nearly a third of the way through the season. Game 12 is nearly a third of the way through the season, and Brighton are in 8th place by, totally deserving to be it. When we look at United, though, we are down in 14th place, but we do have that game in a hand. So if we did win, if we lose, we're going to go down to 15th, because Wolves draw, they'll go above us. Villa win, they go above us. So Wolves win, they go above us. So if we lose, we're going down to 15th place. But if we were to win, we're on 13 points at the moment. If we win, we'd go to 16 points. 16 points would put us into 7th place. So again, this game reminds me of the Norwich game, whereby we played Norwich, and I think we were down in 14th when we played Norwich, and we won and we went up to 7th. So I think that's what's going to happen. I think we will win, and I think we'll go up to 7th place. Happy birthday to Daniel James, says Mohammed A. Yeah, hopefully he can get us a goal. And Wolves overrated, part the bus merchants, says Zero Blade 57. Look at the amount of draws they've got. I don't disagree with you. Shout out from Indonesia, Mark, says Vimage Raj. And fighting for 7th. Come on, boys, says Cash. Just very, very quickly, let me just have a look at that. Let me just show you this. Look, even if United went to 7th today on 16 points, we would still be 9 points off 4th place, which is mad, isn't it? I think top 4 is gone. As I said on the show last night, I think top 4 is gone, but it's about getting as high as we can be, and maybe we are fighting for 7th or 6th or maybe 5th. So yeah, look, massive game. Brighton go 5th if they win. United go 7th if they win. Logically, some people might say it's going to be a draw. I don't think it will. I think United have got what it takes to get the result today. But Brighton are a massive, massive understatement. We just don't know what they're all about. We've had a super chat here. In Russia, the match is on telly live, says Alana Dubkvina. Thank you very much. And Craig McCullough Games HD. Hello, Craig. Not heard from you in a while. Says, why doesn't Ollie just go back to the 4-3-3? It's always the 4-2-3-1, and I'm bored of the 4-2-3-1. Yeah, you know what? Well, somebody did ask a moment ago, and I don't know whether we've had some new viewers since then. Please do subscribe to the channel, by the way. We should be able to get that number up to 579,000 today. It updates every 1,000 subscribers on YouTube now, so I think we're about 300 subscribers away from 579. So please do subscribe if you're new. Bottom right hand corner, United Stand. We're live every night at 8 o'clock. We do previews, match reactions, transfer news. We've got some really good stuff planned for you over the international break as well. Fantastic community, as you can see. So subscribe, bottom right hand corner. And please do smash a like on the video. We must give the Europa League a real chance, says Frederick Zar Carlson. Top 4 is gone. And Rabani says, it's time Mason starts in the Premier League. He's scoring in the Europa League. Him and Tony up top could be deadly with Rashford and DJ on the wings. Even Garner deserves more minutes. And I think some people would agree with you with that. I do think you would. But I'm not going to skirt around the issue. I don't think United are going to lose today, so I don't think it's anything we need to really concern ourselves with. But if we were to lose today, I'll be absolutely honest with you and say that I think he'd have to be sacked. He wouldn't be, but I think you'd have to be, because you can't be 15th in the league and 13 points off top 4. You can't be that in November. And also, I think, as I said, I think losing to Newcastle, well, we've lost to them before. Losing to West Ham, we lost to them last year. You know, losing to Brighton at home would be a pretty big statement. So I just don't see it. The crowd are going to be up for it today. We have got a good front three. I think Martial brings the best out of Rashford and James. Martial's the big difference. But as we all know, the game is going to be about the midfield. Botti, TJB, thanks for the contribution. And what with that team, if we lose, I'm officially Ollie out, says Buster Nut. I think that was the thing with Bournemouth. That's why I'm purposely not saying it this week, Buster Nut. I'm not saying it this week because this is exactly the same thing that happened with Bournemouth last week, where I looked at the team and said there's no excuses really. There's no excuses for losing the game, and we still did. So I don't want to say that again because it can happen. As we know, it can happen. Sorry, I'm just gonna. There we go. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. Of course, there is no guarantees in football, but yeah, you know, it's nice actually. I do feel quite confident, and I don't know why. I feel confident that United are going to get a result today, and I think that United have to. And I know I'm doing Brighton a big misservice. I am. I predicted them to go down. I think they're awful, but I'm basing that on snobbery. I really am, and I think the snobbery is getting a punch in the nose this season, isn't it? You know, Arsenal fans, United fans, Spurs fans, we're being bantered and put in our place by hard-working, well-organised, well-coached sides. I watched Leicester-Arsenal last night. Leicester were the better team and they deserve to win. Arsenal today have apparently said that they're 100% behind their manager and they won't address things until the summer. So, you know, if you feel lonely being a United fan whereby you're not 100% sure about the players, you're not 100% sure about the coach, and you can't stand the owners, Arsenal have got exactly the same problem. So, and Spurs probably not far behind it either. I think that Arsenal, United and Spurs are in a very similar situation. And, you know, the least we can do as a football club is at least win that race. At least, you know, try and win the not banter club, because I think Arsenal, Spurs and United at the moment are laughing stocks, quite rightly, and we're dropping points all over the place. And I spoke to somebody this morning and they said realistically I might have a tenner on a draw and double my money, because I think I do think it'll be a draw. I think, you know, teams like Sheffield United, they should have won against Spurs yesterday. They got a draw. Palace drew at Arsenal last week. Wolves drew at Arsenal as well. United, what makes you think United can win this game, especially when they can't play well in the second half? All Brighton have got to do is get to level at half time and they've got a point. So, yeah, Master Jared Gaming, thanks for the contribution. And Karen took the kids, says being a United fan is like Groundhog Day, optimism before every game and then reality brings us back down to earth. And Josh Sutton says, I'm cautious with this. Matty Ryan is a good keeper and bench player Aaron Moy is a great impact player. Watch for him late if he scores or if the scores are equal. I mean, I don't normally actually take much notice in relation to teams like Brighton coming to United, but I do want to just check their team, because Trossard came off the bench against Norwich when they beat them 2-0, and he's actually starting today. So he got man of the match and he only came on with half an hour to go, Trossard, the number 11 for Brighton, and he starts today. But I don't know much about this team. Ryan in goal, Montoya, Dunk, I've heard of Lewis, well I know about Lewis Dunk, Duffy, Byrne, Propper, Stevens, Alzati, Trossard, Morpay and Connolly. I mean, they're just not a well-known club. I mean, Moy is the lad. Was Moy at Huddersfield last year, or was he at Brighton? I always think of them as the same club, to be honest with you. But well-organised team, good coach. That's what you get. But I'll tell you what. It's November the 10th. If Manchester United win today, I'm putting the bloody Christmas tree up. We need something to celebrate. We do, don't we? We need something to celebrate. I'm as you can tell, I'm feeling positive. I think United are going to win, but I've got none of the bravado of Newcastle and Bournemouth. Oh, we're definitely going to win. This is cautious optimism. I mean, I think we all know anything can happen. I'm just going to go into it, benefit of the doubt, and hope that we can win. Mata is better than Pereira any day, says Keith Thorpe. I must admit there is a level of naivety for any United fan in the live comments saying Mata should have started. Your argument doesn't even get off the ground, because Juan Mata's about 59 now and he can't play Thursday night and then Sunday afternoon. It was never going to happen. So I think the argument about whether Mata is better than Pereira, well, at the moment, I don't think Mata played that well on Thursday. I know a lot of people said Mata was the difference. I mean, he's playing against the pub team. And I know Pereira and Lingard came on and they were bad, but I've seen Mata play in the Premier League for the last 18 months and he's atrocious. But, you know, maybe Mata is better than Pereira and Lingard at the moment, but to think he was going to start today is massively naive. We've given a 3-year contract to a player who can't play more than an hour. And you lot are thinking, oh, he can play Thursday night and Sunday. He can't. It's been proven. He cannot do it. Mourinho used to always sub Mata off after 70 minutes. And Mourinho's been gone for over a year. Well, a year. So, you know, Mata's done. Mata is done. He cannot play Thursday, Sunday football. And Ashley Young can't do it either. That's why Young played on Thursday. So all these experienced players who are meant to help the dressing room, even though we're absolutely blind as a team with no leadership, Mata could never play today. So, look, I understand why people might want him to play, but he was never going to play. Joseph Woodbury says, Mark, anywhere I can get a United stand car decal to try and spread the channel more here in the United States? I don't know, mate. I really don't. But what you can do with Christmas coming, 19.99. Links in the video description. Get your United Stand t-shirts. We've left it in there for you. We've got the 99 one. We've got the green and gold. We've got the adored one. We've got the class of 92 image one, which I really like with the background on it. Really good t-shirts. Links in the video description. Get yourself one for Christmas or just get one now. Very, very good. What else have we got going on in the live comments? Mata has the quality to pick apart these teams, says Stevie Mac, that part the bus. Pereira just shoots from a mile and doesn't even work the keeper. Yeah, but as I say, I shouldn't have even read that comment. I just thought it was a good comment. But as I said, your argument is null and void because Mata physically could not play today. So I get why people are saying Mata's better than Lingard and Mata's better than Pereira, but he was never going to play today. He's just not got it. Mark, do you think Maguire deserves permanent captaincy? Says Tor Inderson. I think that I'm very happy. I'm very happy that that he is the captain today, Harry Maguire. I'm not standing up to salute him, but I am very happy he's the captain today because I think that Ashley Young's just not a captain, and Ashley Young shouldn't be starting games for United. And I'm very excited to see Brandon Williams tonight. I think that, or this afternoon, or this lunchtime, or whatever time it is for you, because Brandon Williams, I actually was scared he was going to play Rojo, and I think if Mourinho was still manager, he would have played Rojo at left back because Rojo's been playing well at the moment, and you get an experienced player in at left back, but he's gone with Brandon Williams, so. That's a really good positive sign from Ollie, who I still question about his use of youth. I think that he talks a good game about the youth, but he doesn't really use them, especially in the Premier League games. But Brandon Williams starts tonight, so very good, very good. I think 2-0 is, a lot of people are saying 2-0 in the live comments. I think 2-0 is quite a safe one. Brandon Williams is starting ahead of Ashley Young. What is your thoughts on Ashley Young, says Henry Gamer? Well, Ashley Young's suspended, so don't get too excited. Ashley Young would have started today. He is suspended. Please smash a like on the video. Let's see if we can get 1,000 likes. We could get 2,000 likes if everyone hit the like button, actually. Mark, what's your thoughts on Dwight McNeil from Burnley being linked with us? 30 million, daylight robbery, and this is the bang average calibre of players that I'm afraid we're after now. Yeah, Joseph, I sort of heard something about this yesterday and totally ignored it, hoping it would go away. But I don't really know much about Dwight McNeil. I really don't. But you know, I think. Well, look, now is not the time. But I just think Manchester United are obsessed with British or Premier League talent that might be good in the future, and that's what we're looking at. So we're trying to do these, you know, clever signings from clubs like Swansea, like Crystal Palace, like Burnley, in the hope that we're going to unearth a whole new team. And you've got to go with quality sometimes, and United lack genuine quality. And I think, as I said, Bruno Fernandes is what we should have gone for. Kane Harris says, how does Ronaldo... I can't do it, I'm 11, says Kane Harris. Yeah, I can't really talk about that, to be honest, illegal streams. Gazzo Lino says, watched all Brighton and United games this season, and United can only win if Brighton get pressed high up and panic. Much better footballing side than United. Well, that's interesting from Gazzolino, from somebody who's actually watched all of their games. I'm quite interested by that, to be honest with you. So thanks for letting us know. Brighton to come back from behind 3-1 is a safe bet, says Matt Ryman. There's a lot of people hyping up Brighton, and I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm not saying they're wrong at all. They may be right, but I just can't get back past the fact that I think Brighton aren't that good. But they win and they go fifth. Andrew Ellis says that McNeil's crossing is quality, and I'll give him that. Are you doing Manchester City versus Liverpool watch-along, says Wayne Rogerson? Yes, if people want to join me for that. I mean, surely we're all going to watch that game anyway. So, Mark Goldbridge, that's football. I should have put a subscribe link in the bottom. We hit 100,000 subscribers on that channel yesterday. I was watching Leicester Arsenal on it. So, yeah, watch along for this. Match reaction, straight onto Liverpool versus Man City on That's Football. So, a long afternoon of hopefully good football. We start on a positive and then, you know, hopefully Liverpool get beat as well. And I'm no fan of City, but I don't want Liverpool to win the league. Nothing. It's a long-term plan, says Vandy Candy. Mark, okay. We will draw today 2 each, says Stevie Mac. I mean, I've not looked. Well, let's look at what Stevie Mac is saying there. So if we draw, Brighton draw, and they will stay in 8th, really, because I don't know. Well, they might go above Bournemouth, but they'll stay in the top half. If we draw, we would go up to 12th because we've got a better goal difference because we're still living off that 4-0 from Chelsea. So we'd go up to 12th, which is still very crap, isn't it? So a draw would be I would be tempted to say I would rather lose than draw. And I know that sounds really stupid, and I'm not going to say that behind hiding. If we draw, we go up to 12th place. If Wolves win, we'll be in 13th place. So a draw is a crap result, but nothing ever gets done off a draw. A draw is like, oh, well, we didn't lose. So I think if we draw and end up in 12th or 13th place tonight, that's an abomination. That is unacceptable. But it will be accepted because we drew. So part of me thinks, well, what's the difference between 14 points and being 12th or 13th, or 13 points and losing and being 14th or 15th? They're both awful. Today is about winning. Then it's not about losing or drawing. So I would rather lose than draw today, because a draw doesn't do anything other than, you know, keep paper in the cracks. We need to win and step forward, and that's what I expect to do. And if we lose, then the club have got to do something. And more important, the club have got to look at themselves. But I don't think we'll be having those questions. I think United will win. Would you consider James in the 10 role with Rashford, Greenwood and Martial up front? No. I disagree with Scholes about this. I mean, Scholes said he'd like to see Rashford in the number 10 role. Some people have said they'd like to see Greenwood in the 10 role. I think Greenwood would suit the 10 role better than Rashford and James, because Greenwood's got good ball control. He can keep it in tight spaces. Rashford's first touch isn't that good, and Dan James is a winger. You know, you can't criticise Pereira and Lingard and say they're dreadful, and then go and say, let's give Rashford and James a go in number 10. They've not got the close ball control. They've not got the intricacy. The two players who... I think Anthony Martial could play the number 10 role. He's got really good close control and he's got an eye for a pass. But he would be being played out of position. And Greenwood could do it as well, because he's got an eye for a pass as well. But I don't think Rashford's got an eye for a pass, and I don't think Dan James has. Dan James is a winger. Dan James is a player that you give him the ball to run at a back four and whip across him. And get a shot off. That's what Dan James is there for. And I think Rashford's evolving into that as well. We need to buy a number 10. No question about it. Also, properly run loan and youth players playing the style of first team as decided by Director of Football. Watch Dan Athworth interview, says Gasolino. So they're a properly run club with a playing style. Okay, interesting. Football HD says Emery or Ollie. I mean, look, you're just choosing different brands of... I was going to say a swear word there, but different brands of incompetence at the moment, aren't you? And Angel Gomez is injured at the moment. Crickly Buzz videos. And why do you think Ollie is smiling in all post-match conferences if we lose, says PRM Tapper? Because he's probably nervous. He's probably... Well, he's by his own admission, Ollie says that he's a very optimistic person. And also, he's got to promote himself. I think Brighton could surprise us, but United will win. I mean, that's a good point, and that's a funny name. They're called Mark Goldbridge's dad. But I think that what I don't want to see today, and what we might see today, is a United win in the same format as Leicester, where a team comes to Old Trafford, they play better football than us, but we nick a penalty or something and we win 1-0. I want United to win, and I want to be greedy, and I want United to play well. I don't want to be in a situation where we're sat there at the end of the game saying Brighton were better than us, but we win. Do you agree that we play bad against negative bad teams? We just don't have the tools to break those teams down, in my opinion, says Ross Baker. Yeah, we struggle. We are a team at Manchester United who like to hit teams on the break. Manchester United are a better team against teams like Liverpool and Arsenal and Leicester, and we do better against those teams because they try and beat us. And defensively, we are quite good. It's one of the positives of this season. I mean, we don't like it because we don't like negativity, but we are defensively quite sound. And what happens is that allows us to get at teams in the defensive areas. When teams sit back against us, like we've seen with Newcastle and West Ham to a certain extent, and Crystal Palace at home, we struggle to break those teams down. The onus is on us to break them down, and then we get hurt on the break. Look at Newcastle's goal. That was catching us on the break. So we do struggle. Now, this is going to be very interesting how Brighton approach this, because I don't know enough about Brighton to know how they will approach it. If I was Brighton, I would approach this game in a way that is very pragmatic and defensive and hit us on the break. But if what we're hearing is true, that Brighton are an expansive team that wants to play on the front foot, then that could do well. That could do well. Lot of talk about Pereira. Solskjaer himself has said about Brandon Williams, Brandon's been very good when he's played. It's a good test for him. I rested him on Thursday night just for him to be ready. I think it's fair when young boys play their first start in the Premier League, they should be rested. And it's an interesting one. It's an interesting one. I'm glad he's playing, and I see that. I do see that as a positive as well. I do. I really, really do. So I'm very pleased that he is playing in that game today. Hopefully Paul's going to join me for a few minutes before kick-off. We've got half an hour till kick-off, actually. So if you can hear me, Paul, do by all means shout up. We've got... Yeah, how you doing, pal? All right? Yeah, I am. I'm just going to read a couple of super chats and then I'm going to get your thoughts on the team. Ryan FTW says 4-2-3-1 formation can work if it's done correctly. Look at Mourinho's Chelsea. 2 box-to-box CDMs does work. However, having 2 holding CDMs doesn't work. Okay. We've got a new member in Craig Kalami. Welcome, Craig. You can become a member of the United Stand Members Club by clicking the join button. And Sebastian Anderson says, bit off topic, would Solskjaer start in this team? I'm not old enough to have seen Solskjaer play. Don't know how good he was. Love going for Goldbridge. I mean, we're both old enough, aren't we, Paul? I would say Solskjaer wouldn't start in this team. He's a good player, but he could only really play the number 9 position, which I would presume Martial is better than him. I mean, that's just my thought. Yeah. A prime Ollie, would he get in this United team? You'd put him ahead of Martial, would you?
Just starting out? No, probably not. But a prime Ollie, when he's in the midst of scoring his goals, the chances we've had that he would have taken, would have changed our entire season probably. If we had that clinical striker, we'd be much better. I suppose you
just have to find a position for him, wouldn't we? I'd probably just have to adapt to the situation a little bit, because it'd be hard to find a place for him in this team, because he's not got the pace of a Rashford or a James to create. He'd want the Martial position, so you'd probably move Martial to the left to play him up front, I suppose.
I think I'm possibly muted, Mark.
No, you're all right now. You were muted for a few seconds, but it's all right.
Oh, was it? All right, cool.
That's my fault, yeah.
I love Martial. Martial's going to grow into a great striker, but at the moment, he still needs time to develop. He is developing at a very rapid rate over the last 6 months, in my opinion. But also, we haven't got the midfield to provide him with what he needs in terms of chances. So he's been very stunted at United. If you look at the time he's been here and how he's been treated and what he's had to work with in terms of teams and dynamics of the teams and the way we've played. I think Martial's probably a couple of years behind where he could have been if he had better development. I don't know if you agree.
Oh, 100%. I think I said it during the time. I think Mourinho did set Rashford and Martial back 2 years, and some people don't want to hear that, but I do, and I think it'd be hilarious if Mourinho took over Arsenal, because he will destroy them. But he's a short-term manager who tries to win trophies, and he did win 2 trophies at United, and now he's gone. And he definitely hasn't got the patience for development, which is why he bought Sanchez and kicked Martial out of the team, who just scored 3 goals in 3 games before that, because he can't be doing with the inconsistency, which is ironic. But Leo Wood says, I'm a Brighton fan. I've got a season ticket down at the Amex and go to a few away games. We play on the front foot. We beat Spurs 3-0 quite comfortably because we pressed them and we played well. This is something that could play into our hands, Paul. I was talking about this. I don't really know much about Brighton, and it's interesting how many people are talking about it, because what are your thoughts about this game? Do you know anything about Brighton, and do you think that actually it could suit us if they are this sort of team that wants to play on the front foot?
I don't know much about Brighton. I've watched them. I think the manager, he has one way of playing. I don't know whether he'll change to go pragmatic to pick us apart, which is what he should do and what every team should do. Some managers are stubborn. Some managers don't have a different style of play, and he may just believe that he can beat this United team, and why wouldn't he? Look at the teams we've lost to. So if he comes on the front foot, then I think we'll pick him off. I really do. But are we going to be on the front foot? We are playing Brighton at home. I know they're above us, and you can argue that would make them better than us at the moment. But if we can't be on the front foot in this game and not be a counter-attacking team, hold the ball, manipulate the ball well, create chances, 2 CDMs again, I'm disappointed with, but hopefully Fred will get released a little bit more and McTominay will sit back. If we can't put a decent performance in against Brighton today, it's all about the result, but it's also about the performance for me. Because if we're not starting to put decent performances in, but for the next 10, 15 games, all we're doing is snatch and grab results, picking people off with one counter and keeping it defensive and not really seeing any progress in terms of our development of style, then what's the point in keeping Ollie? We're at the start of a development stage here. If nothing is developing, then what's the point in keeping on the same track? So, I want the result. I think we'll get it, but I also want a decent performance. You said exactly the same thing earlier. I don't think it's greedy. I think, perfectly acceptable to expect that.
Rabani says, I can see the pointless Lingard sub from miles away. And Freddie Mercury says, Brighton haven't faced a decent side till now. That's why they're having a party. Well, I don't know what decent side they're playing today, because we haven't been a decent side. But I think I get what you mean, Freddie Mercury. It's a game that we have to win. Manchana says that, I'm sorry, but Ollie is taken us nowhere, and I think the earlier Ollie leaves, the better. If United don't get the 3 points against Brighton, it's time to ditch the boss, says Philip Nash. And I can see, Ollie is hopeless, would have been sacked months ago, says Pure Original, had he never played for the club. And Mark, would you take Vardy at United, says Jaden Ganas? Hypothetically I would, but I would actually also say how long term is Vardy as a solution, and I think we need to steer away from players that are in their early 30s, to be honest with you. And I'm about to put score prediction. Well, I must pull that in a minute. Are you happy? I'm just going to pop off for a quick toilet break, actually, Paul, because I've got a couple of questions I want to ask you, and it'll probably take a couple of minutes to respond to them. Are you happy with that team today? First one. And secondly, how do you think the game's going to go today? And I'll give you a minute to reply that, and I'll be back.
Happy with the team. I don't think we could change it to make it any better, to be honest. I don't know what everybody else thinks. Williams coming in is a definite positive. Young being out. Hopefully Williams can stamp his authority on this position today and put Young on the bench for the rest of the season with Luke Shaw as cover or vice versa, because I think Young's always a bit of an Achilles heel in our team in terms of defensive ability. Going forward he's alright. Defensively he's just not. So Brandon Williams, watch today. I think he's going to do fantastically well. He's got all the energy in the world, and we're going to need energy against this team. If we can start moving the ball quickly, like we don't usually, if we can, off the ball, run around to find space for the passes to go through midfield and break the lines, because I haven't been seeing enough of that. So there needs to be an improvement in his style, but I don't know. Can anybody else think of a better formation to put out there at the moment? I mean, we could miss out 2 defensive midfielders, but who else are we going to put in place? Mata, he doesn't make much difference. So starting 11, I'm happy with, personally, as long as we start the game off on the front foot. But again, I don't know if you noticed the pattern that I have in terms of the way we play football. Even under Mourinho, we were the same. The first 15 minutes, we run around like crazy. We put pressure on teams, and then we start to fade. And by 25 minutes, 30 minutes, the other team have come into it. And by the end of the first half, we've kind of dissipated, and we start to shift back, and our defensive line shifts back. We put ourselves under pressure, and in the second half, we stay like that, and we don't really put our foot down. So I don't want to see that pattern today, because that pattern's all too obvious to me.
Perfect timing. I'm back. Look, a lot of people talking about Pereira there starting. I think that's a big thing. It's even trending on Twitter if anyone's interested. I said about Pereira that whatever, if Mata's the solution, then people are really naive. He was never going to play in this game because he can't play more than 60 minutes anyway. So, and he's never going to play Thursday night and then Sunday afternoon. So it was really a choice between Pereira and Lingard. And I think Lingard's had 9 months of, well, some would say longer, really. 18 months, you could argue. And he's been atrocious. So it's Pereira or no one. So I know Pereira, and Pereira is a weak point. I think he is. We've just got to hope he has a good game, because I wouldn't have played Lingard, and Gomez is injured anyway. So this is the weakness of the squad. We know the midfield is where any team can look at United and go, that's our chance. Because back five, I think we're quite strong. The three up front can cause teams problems, but as you know, the midfield's the engine, and if that midfield has a bad game or is tired, Fred and McTominay both played on Thursday as well, that's the area that we are weak, and we've known about this for a long time.
Do you know, I forgot about that. I forgot about playing a strong squad in Europe on Thursday, because that's going to come into it. I worry that that's going to be the difference between us and Brighton. Brighton are going to be fresh, and we're going to be, a little bit slow to start. And if we're slow to start and we're on the back foot, in my opinion, I said it earlier in a group chat, if we score first, we're going to win this quite easily. If we don't score first, we're going to lose or draw. But I'm saying that purely on the consistency that we've shown this season, because that's pretty much what we do. As soon as we go one down, if they shut up shop, we haven't really got anything to break them down with. And that's because our midfield is lacking. Bigger picture, we gave Mata and Pereira contracts combined 6 years to stay at this club. Based on what, Mark? Based on what? Based on the fact they're going to improve us, or based on Mata's blog and the hope that Pereira will come good because it's cheaper than buying a decent number 10? I mean, that's the problem that we've got. We'd rather continue with players which we hope are going to get better than buy someone who we know is going to make a difference. Bigger picture, that's going to stagnate us and stunt our growth all the time, that the Glazers are going to provide that kind of investment.
100%. I mean, we kept Mata and Pereira because it's cheaper to keep a player like that and then let them go and replace them. So yeah, I'd agree with that. I mean, Rahul V says that midfield triangle should be inverted with this lineup. Pereira can't be a number 10. McTominay CDM, Fred and Pereira as box to box. I'd love us to go back to doing that. Welcome to Anaban Onisako, the latest member of the United Stand Members Club. And Murray says, can we expect a good first 15 to 20 minutes, followed by a laboured 70, where we'll only be able to score by a penalty or a piece of individual brilliance? Well, yeah, I think he's right there, everybody, and Paul as well, isn't he? Because I think United, we know that United have got to start off well. We know that in the second half we're pretty poor. And it's interesting, I don't know whether you heard me talking about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's programme notes about Brandon Williams, saying that he knew he was going to play Brandon Williams, which is why he rested him against Partizan, and he said it's really important for a young player to come into the game fresh and well rested. So even Ollie's acknowledging there what you've said about Brighton, that being fresh and well rested should be an advantage, and I hope that it doesn't go against us. But just on that point there, do you feel like the first 10-20 minutes are going to be key for Manchester United?
How ironic is it that he's saying he has to rest Brandon Williams, but he plays the strongest possible team we could play, and many players that are going to play against Brighton. Ollie, he confuses the hell out of me sometimes, but I don't know if you heard me talk when you nipped off to the loo. More than likely not. We follow a pattern of play, in my opinion. The way that we come out fighting, the first 15 minutes we're running around, buzzing, full of energy, pressing, winning the ball back, and then slowly but surely, between 15, 20, 25 minutes, the other team come into it, start retaining the ball a bit more, building a bit of confidence. Then they start putting pressure on us, and we start slipping back in terms of our high line. The end of the half, we, depending on the scoreline, obviously, we start sitting back and we have less of the ball. And then they come out very confident in the second half and push us back, and we don't really create much or do much. I've seen that so many times, Mark. And that's what I don't want to happen, because how many times have we said we started well, we look good, and at the end of the game we're like, what happened? So I don't want to see that pattern. That pattern's far too obvious for me. I repeated myself there, sorry guys, but I don't know if Mark heard it, but
no,
it's pretty obvious to me.
It is a fair point. Yassan Nakar says, shout out to my girlfriend Fatima, please. Oh, shout out to Fatima there. And Keegan Pillay says that I am a little nervous today about our ability to play full intensity for 90 minutes. Hopefully we'll win the game in the first half. And I think that is the point. I would come back to you, Paul, as well, and everybody as well, and say that I'd be very, very surprised if United turned on something that they've not done all season, and that is be a good second half team, because we played on Thursday and we played a lot of players on Thursday that are playing today. So I don't see United having a good second half, and I hope we do. I'd be very surprised if we do, but you know, I said it on Thursday. I was very unhappy when the team news came out and we won the game comfortably, and I had a rant. I said he's gone way too strong for Partizan. He's risking points against Brighton, and that's why I really would rather lose than draw, because I think a draw is such a cop-out result, and it would really irritate me to say we've drawn. We've got to beat Brighton today, and he took a major risk on Thursday playing players that really should have been rested. So he's got to win today. As a manager, he put a lot of risk in that game, and I think he did it, Paul, to try and get a fluidity. Guzan says congratulations to KSI, and Zayn Massey says, Mark, the only way United and Arsenal could compete is if we both get relegated and become the top two teams in the Championship. There are parallels at the moment. And Mark, can I ask Paul if he thinks Ollie should be sacked now, regardless if we win today or not? That's from Paul Gill, and we've got a new member, is Humi. Thank you, Humi. So yeah, I was going to ask you that anyway, Paul. If we lose today, do you think Solskjaer should be sacked? But Paul Gill says, do you think he should be sacked anyway?
Do you know what? I could have an argument myself about it. I don't need anyone else in the room to have an argument on Ollie in, Ollie out. I can make a valid case for Ollie out, and then I can counter punch it with a valid case for Ollie in. Everything that you say about Ollie out, all valid points in terms of game management. His CV's pretty awful. He's learning on the job. What manager should ever learn on the job for Manchester United? You know, he had a great bounce when he took over, but now he's being tactically found out. But what undermines that and pulls the rug out of any of these arguments is, unfortunately, whoever comes in is going to have exactly the same structure to work under, find the same problems, hit the same wall. And then we're back to square one, but we're 18 months down the line on a new 3-year rebuild with the same problem. So should Ollie be fired after this game if we lose to Brighton? Yes, is the answer. Yeah, he should be. He really should. But how much good is it going to do us as a team? The new manager, is he going to immediately get £150 million to spend? No, he isn't. Is he going to buy in January? No, he isn't. They're not going to give him money. In the summer, is he going to get more money than Ollie would get because he's the new manager? No, he's not, because Glazers have they have accountability to shareholders. They need a certain amount of profit to be able to pay dividends, so people still invest in the club and they don't have to sell shares off. Ollie should be sacked. Is it going to help? Genuinely, I don't think it will. I think there needs a restructure, and until that comes, it's going to be very difficult to get out of the mire we're in.
Daniel says Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is playing the long game, week one midweek, and it means we can rest for the next two Europa games. I can sort of see that, Daniel, but what I would say is if we lose today, we're in 15th in the Premier League. You can't hide behind the fact that, well, we've got 2 Europa League games where we can rest players. You know, we've lost enough ground as it is. He's got to win today. I don't care what the Europa League status is, he's got to win today. And we were never going to lose to Partizan. They were awful. Abuka says, Mark, I think Ollie should be sacked regardless of the result. Bring in Rangnick as director of football and caretaker manager, then let him hire a new one in the summer. Josh Sutton says, if we sack Ollie or lose, plastic fans would just look for next excuse. There's always an excuse and no accountability. And Nick P says, this is apparently the youngest side to turn out for any Premier League side this season, yet they don't have the energy to play hard for 90 minutes. I think a lot of that comes down to the training. I mean, look, I watched Arsenal-Leicester last night, Paul, and it's funny when you look at something pragmatically because it's not your club. And Arsenal fans are getting Emery out. And I'm saying, well, I think that's really unfair. You're scapegoating another manager when clearly you're run by idiots. And, you know, I watched that game and Arsenal fans live up the backside of Ozil and Aubameyang and people like that. And I thought they were dreadful yesterday. So, you know, it's not always just the manager. And I think that's why people get very frustrated when I will not go Ollie out, because I think, yeah, you know, if he hadn't played for the club, he would have been sacked. I agree. I think that's a very accurate statement. He's only still in the job because he's a legend of the club and he protects the board because people love Ollie. But the reality is, if we were to sack him, it's the same board sacking him, it's the same board replacing him, it's the same players there for the new manager, and it's the same board above them. You're basically a shit sandwich because you're just getting pressure from both sides. And Arsenal are the same. I don't know whether I know Zane's in here. Arsenal are in the same position as well. Sacking Emery and bringing Mourinho in will just be more pain. And the worrying thing is, for every manager you sack, the patience of the manager drops. If United fans are at a point after less than a year to say, yeah, let's sack a club legend, what chance has anybody else got, Paul? I mean, whoever comes next. I mean, how long are we going to give Allegri? 3 months? You know, it just becomes less and less and less.
There you go.
The only thing for me, and I don't like the situation. I mean, I had a right moan on Friday night because I said I'm almost done, because it's almost like the unsolvable depression. I don't necessarily think Ollie's the right man, but I know the owners are not the right people, and I know half that squad's not good enough. So it needs three areas of change.
Well, there comes a tipping point where you have to go. He has to go. You know, there's always a tipping point. There's always a moment of realization where you just think this can't carry on. And today might be it for a lot of people. It might not for others. But
well, just to jump in, I mean, I just wanted to ask you this as well. Regardless of whether Woodward should be sacked first, and regarded whether some of the players should go before Ollie, there comes a point where no matter how patient you want to be or how much you want to say he shouldn't be sacked before Woodward, which is what I'm basically saying, there does become a point where you just have to be sacked. You know, you've sort of gone past what is acceptable. And I think United 15th, losing at home to Brighton in November, that's pretty much anybody would be sacked at that point. And the only thing that would save him is this weird scenario we're in. He would be very close, I think, in my mind, to having to go.
Yeah, he would be. There's you know, if you're looking at with a different perspective as not a fan, take emotion out of it. This will be 4 games in 16 that we've won in the Premier League, maybe. I mean, if that's not sackable for any club, then I don't know what is. I mean, the results have been poor, let's face it. And I understand the plan of, not the 3-year plan Ed's talking about, that interview he did with the fanzine. If Ed could write a statement without being asked questions by an interviewer, that would be what he put out, would be the statement that he would write regardless of questions. So that interview to me was just absolute propaganda.
They shouldn't have done it. That's a respectable fanzine, and they shouldn't have done that interview because
it's made them look fools, if you ask me.
Well, they've not been able to ask the question they want to ask, have they? They've just basically gone, oh, we've got Ed Woodward, it'll do wonders for the magazine, and then you read it and it's like, yeah, you've allowed yourself to be used as
skim the surface.
Yeah.
Well, they say we've got a 3-year plan. He doesn't say, can you break it down for me? He goes, all right, cool. Yeah. Next question. 3, you can, you know, as you say, I'm going to be a billionaire next week. Oh, quality. How are you going to do that? Don't know. It's just going to happen. So
Del Boy, this time next year we'll be millionaires.
I've lost my train of thought completely.
Yeah. Ross
Ed's the new Del Boy.
Ross Gallagher says, calling it now, Harry Maguire will score his first United goal today. Come on, United. Paul Gill says, Mark, like you, I love Ollie and I want him to succeed, but he's not the long-term answer. But our owners won't sack him because it will cost them money and they won't want to admit they made another mistake. And Ibrahima John says, hello, Mark. Hope all is well. Could you ask Paul what would be his 3-step plan to bring United short-term and long-term success? I don't think we're going to get that time, to be honest, Ibrahima John, 10 minutes before before kick-off. But I do want to come back to that point about Harry Maguire. Just quickly, he's captain today. He's had a lot of stick lately. What's your feelings about that? Do you think it's fair?
No, I think he's been excellent, to be honest. I think he's been very, very good. I think Twanzebe going to be his long-term partner. I think he's going to evolve into a better fit with Maguire than Lindelof is. Lindelof's an excellent defender, in my opinion. He is too weak, and he's too slow, along with Harry. Twanzebe's strong as an ox, and he's fast, and he hasn't got the recklessness of Bay, and he also is very comfortable on the ball, and it will only get more comfortable, and his distribution will get better, but his strength and pace will complement Harry's ability in the air and ability to read the game. He nips in front of players. He can see what passes are coming, and he's there and he intercepts them. He doesn't even let play build up. I don't know if he gets enough credit for that. He doesn't get found out by getting turned when he does that either. I think he's made a hell of a difference to our defence. Him and Aaron Wan-Bissaka, our defence is looking solid. If our midfield and structure, if we had a better world-class CDM playing next to McTominay or Fred, and we had a proper number 10 and we could force our way up the pitch, then our defence would be looking absolutely fantastic. I think Harry Maguire has made a couple of mistakes. He's also getting dragged down. Have you not noticed? Players that come in always look good for the first couple of months, and then slowly but surely they kind of get sucked in the mire that is United at the moment, and they sort of lose confidence.
It's like
an
illness,
bit
isn't it? You come in well.
Yeah, it is. It's contagious. And you can see in their faces, Daniel James making all these runs and getting the ball. And he looks despondent. You can tell by his body language. Rashford's the same as well. I wish we got Bruno Fernandes, Mark. You say it every single show pretty much. That's going to kick us every time we play this season. He would have made so much of a difference. He would have been first name on the team sheet, banging in goals or not. Just distribution of the ball and composure in the midfield. He would have stepped us up another level. We really would. So that's a huge thing. But Maguire, back to the point, I think he's been class, and I think he'll only get better.
Andrew Rossi says, I don't believe anything that Woodward or the board says. All they care about is the money. The football is an afterthought. Well, you've got Ander Herrera himself saying that, haven't you? So I don't think there's any question that we're right about that. We've also got a contribution from Barrett Isherwood. Says, hi Mark, do you think if we sign a decent director of football on the level of City and Liverpool, we could turn this around under Ollie and Woodward? I don't think, until they prove us right, I just don't think there's any ambition for Manchester United to get a director of football in. We're absolutely run terribly, but the people in power at United don't want to relinquish the control they've got, even though evidentially they've been an absolute shambles. But we're about 5 minutes away from kick-off, so I'm going to say thanks for popping on, Paul, and we'll get your half-time thoughts. And what I would say about that, Paul, we both agree that we've got to start well, because we both know that United will fade in the second half. So realistically, the half-time show is almost the end of game result, isn't it? Because if we're not winning at half-time, I don't think we're going to win.
If we're not winning at half time, I think we'll struggle. But that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a change of consistency. I want us to go up a gear. I don't want us to follow the same pattern as we've been following since the beginning of the season after the Chelsea game. So I'm looking for a difference here. I'm not looking for the same pattern. And also, individual players. Williams watch, I think he's going to be great. Martial's going to bang. And I think we're going to win.
Thanks, Paul. I'll speak to you half time, mate.
Cheers, mate. See you in a bit.
Ta-da. Thanks to Paul there. Really good comments. He's one of our moderators. Fantastic. Sand Kadeep says that I know you don't like Eriksen, but if you sign him in January, will we get top four? It's not that I dislike Eriksen. I just think he's everything wrong with what Manchester United are trying to do. And why would you sign a player who's proven themselves to be awful when their head has gone, which is what's happened with Eriksen. He's been awful for the last 8 months. So Why, we've already got number 10s that are awful for the last 8 months, and they're called Jesse Lingard and then Mata and then Pereira. So, why go and get Eriksen? I don't, James Maddison is short, or Bruno Fernandes is surely the solution there. And Crunchy says, I can't name a single Brighton player besides Lewis Dunk. And I think this is what, hopefully, is the reason we're going to win. I mean, Oliver Crease says, come on, Brighton. But hopefully this is going to be the reason that we win this game, because we cannot name their players. It's not an arrogance. We cannot name their players. So I would hope that is the reason that we're going to win the game. But they are doing very well, as I said. Watch out for Trossard. He is class up against Aaron Wan-Bissaka, says Ulrich Dalland. And that's why I'm quite confident, because Trossard is probably one of their better players, but he is up against Wan-Bissaka, who, as I say, always fills me with confidence. So the players are coming out onto the pitch anyway. I will be listening to it on radio as well. So live comments, if you are watching, keep us up to date tactically and everything like that. But we will have you covered as per usual on the United stand. We need a 20-plus goal season, says Daz Sweets. And how many of you want City to win, says Harold R. Well, that's for later. I want Manchester United to win. Aaron Connolly is mint too, says Nathan Tomlinson. Well, it's going to be a real eye opener, isn't it, today with Brighton, because they're not awful. They can't be where they are in the league if they're awful. So, but the sun is shining. It's a nice day. It was horrible in the UK yesterday, but the sun is shining today. Massive game for Manchester United. We must get the result today. There are no there's no permutations. There's no a draw would be a good result. A draw won't even get us above 12th. So we got to go and win today, and we've got to do it in a way that I think we've got to go and do it in a way that that is pleasing on the eye. I know it's a big ask. I know we've not really done that under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, but it's definitely something that we do need to go and do. And I'm quietly confident that we can. As I said, I have gone for a win. I'm going to go for United to win it. I'm going to go United to win 3-1. And I know that sounds very, very greedy in the context of the way we've been playing. But, maybe as a club we need to get a little bit greedy. And maybe as a club we need to start winning these types of games. So let's see how we go. Thanks for the contribution, Manchester United forums, appreciate that. And a lot of people going 2-0. That seems to be a very popular scoreline as well, so let's see how we go with that. Mark being humble, says Unity XD. I can be humble and respect the silence, you ungrateful millennials. Yeah, but you know what? Can I just say to people going on about respect the silence and remembrance, I've been to church this morning, so I don't need to be told what to do by people. But also, this is not on the telly in the UK, so a lot of people won't even know that there is a minute's silence going on at the moment. And I haven't even turned my radio on. I was just trying to do it there. So there is a minute's silence going on at the moment. So if you are respecting that, fantastic. Obviously, if you aren't aware of it, then, Matt Carroll says, do you think Rashford would be thought of the same in a Ferguson squad, or would he be on the same level as a Welbeck? Sir Alex would definitely give him the opportunities. Right. I'm just going to stay quiet now because it is quiet. Okay, that's it. That's the minute silence done. Thanks everybody who did join in that. If you weren't aware of it, then there you go. You're a great man to the community. Keep it up, says James Murray. We're about to kick off with this game. I will get you the timer up and running as well as soon as we do. Lots of talk there about Manchester United and how we're going to approach this game. Links in the video. Sorry, please do subscribe to the channel if you're new. Bottom right hand corner. We're trying to get to 579,000 subscribers today. And please do subscribe if you're new. Bottom right hand corner. And please do share the video. We will be keeping you updated with what's going to happen. Okay. Oh. Sorry. We're up and running. Kick off. Hello from Chicago. Love the channel, mate. Can you see this squad scoring in the second half? I see a few assists from Rashi today and Martial. So, timer's up and running. We're about 35 seconds in. Manchester United against Brighton. We need a win today. Jake Eads, you're very lucky. I saw your comment. Of course I can give you a shout out. There you go. Be interesting to see how Brighton start off in this game. Whether they're going to play the sort of football that we've been accustomed to, or whether United will grab hold of this game in the first sort of 10 minutes. There needs to be a high tempo. There was a high tempo against on Thursday night. There needs to be a high tempo from Manchester United tonight as well. This afternoon. I keep saying tonight. Paul Gill says, Mark, I don't think the Glazers will ever sell the club, and Woodward and the whole board will never leave the club. It both scares and makes me angry. I don't think you're wrong, Paul. I don't think you're wrong. I think we are in a we've just got to take that wasn't me grabbing my groin there, that's my sort of pulling my tracksuit bottoms down. I've got tight pants on, so I wouldn't be touching that. Can you give my Insta a shout out at official_Kane, says Kane Harris. I can at official_Kane with an I in the Kane. There you go. Corinthians says, I can't join the United stand from Brazil. Yeah, if you want to be a member, if the join button's there, you can join. If not, you can't. Some places can, some places can't. That's YouTube for you. It's the same with Super Chats. I think you can do Super Stickers now, though. Yeah, you can do Super Stickers. So if you click the $sign, it lets you do these animated stickers as well now, as well as a Super Chat. So if you want to leave a Super Chat, you can do that by clicking the $. Thing. You can also join as a member there if it says join. But if it's not there, you can't. A bit of a slow start from Manchester United then, we are hearing in this first couple of minutes, which is not... I think United needed to be on the front foot. I think we needed to be on the front foot a little bit more in this game. It's only just started, I know, but it feels like United are trying to feel their way in more than actually just getting on the front foot. And Brighton, again, another team that sort of plays this sort of 4-4-2 that drops into quite a defensive lineup when they haven't got the ball. Ooh, Rashford getting in there. Couldn't really quite get the ball down. And a bit of a chance for Manchester United. It was a bit of a half chance for Rashford, to be honest. Nothing major. Nothing major. Patrick St. Pierre says United have started off quite well. Yeah, I think that first couple of minutes just sounded a little bit flat, but they've sort of, you know, we're only not even 5 minutes in now, and McTominay's just had a good run through there. I really do think that this game for United is about the first 20 minutes. It's about the tempo we set in the first 20 minutes and the confidence we take from that first 20 minutes. And yeah, a goal would be nice, but it's also about, look, can we get control of this game? Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said it himself. Can United get hold of this game? Rashford's just given the ball away and Brighton are now coming away with the ball. It's a must win, says Xander. I'm listening to it, Alex Jackson, on MUTV. It's a good place. You can listen to every Manchester United game on MUTV. I think in some countries you can actually watch United games on MUTV, but not in the UK. But they do every game on the radio. There's other radio stations that have it as well. I'm sure Radio Brighton and Radio Manchester. So you can always get it on the radio. Who will win, City or Liverpool, says Caelan Power. You can join me for that game on That's Football at 4:30. I'll be doing a watch along for that. An early opportunity for Manchester United to put the ball into the box here. There's a Brighton player down, but it was a foul on Andreas Pereira. John Moss is the referee. Brandon Slaughter says YouTube is giving free super chats, so here you go. Surprised the match isn't on TV, says AK Jordan. I think it's to do with, and he has booked the Brighton player very early on here for the foul on Pereira, so an early yellow card by the referee. This game would have been a 3 o'clock Saturday game if we hadn't been playing Europa League football, so I think a lot of us assumed it was going to be on the telly because of that. Solskjaer is the Glazers' shield. They know the shield is bad, but it's better than nothing and is keeping them alive, says Marcus Fervent. I totally agree with you. And it's a bit of a shit ball by Pereira in from the free kick, and it's come for Brighton to try and break away. A good tackle by Brandon Williams. Hopefully by the time I start working I will donate to the United Stand, but until then I will contribute my punctual attendance to the live streams and useful comments. Please United win, says Ali A Talks United. And who is worse, Moyes or Ollie, says Ziad. I was thinking about this the other day, and it's not really a conversation I want to have on a when we're playing a game that I think we're going to win. But I mean, look, I much prefer Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as United manager because I like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I never wanted David Moyes from the day we appointed him. I never wanted him, and I know that sounds in hindsight a genius, but it's the same as Fellaini. The second we bought him, I didn't want him, and I didn't want Moyes either. But probably United may well have been a better team under Moyes. He didn't get that long, did he? But you know, it is what it is. I think Fred is slowly improving and getting used to Premier League football, but Pereira, I think, is out of it, says Jay Dawson. Let me just stretch me back. Ooh. I've got a new member, which is Charles Murphy. Welcome, Charles, to the United Stand Members Club. You can join by clicking the join button. You get a little badge next to your name, and you get access to the emojis, which I haven't seen any emojis for a while. And Jackson Prophet says, Chelsea fan here, but love the realistic view you guys have as opposed to some other fan channels and enjoy the content. Well, we're all about real fan opinion on here, and that spreads right through the fan cams, the live comments, everybody. So, you know, I'm glad that other people do enjoy the integrity of the United Stand, that will say it's good when it's good and will say it's bad when it's bad. That's what real fan opinion is, isn't it? The lack of control of possession at home is embarrassing, says Tyrone Williams. Yeah, Brighton have given as good as they've got so far. And, you know, we're approaching sort of 8-9 minutes coming into the game now. So, 50-50 game, says Scrappy Red Devil. Exactly. Lingard is world class, says Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. That probably is Ole and Lingard on the live comments with their phone while the game's being played. Good bit of running there from Dan James. Puts the cross in towards Rashford, and it's just been taken off his head at the vital moment. To be honest with you, I think it was more a case of a good cross in from Dan James and Rashford just not attacking the ball, waiting for it again. It's not brilliant defending. It's just Rashford again on his fucking lead boots. He's got to be attacking a cross like that. He's waiting for the cross to come to him, and this is Rashford's problem in and around the box. He doesn't make the right runs. Wesley Gomez, Mark, transfer fee and wages aside, is there one player who do you think would be the answer for United? Well, there's loads, Wesley. You've got to put parameters, because I could say Ronaldo or Messi. I could say De Bruyne. I can say Van Dijk. I can say Fabinho. I can say Kante. There's loads and loads of players. But I do think United's problem is the midfield at the moment. I think the front three are okay. And I think that the midfield is so I'd be looking for midfielders. So I probably would say a Kante. A number 10 is important, but I think a CDM is more important. I think having to play two CDMs is problematic for United. We didn't used to do that. Hi Mark, why do we insist on 4-2-3-1? Exactly, Amand. And can you say hi to Liri? Thanks. Hi to Liri. And thanks for the contribution, Armand. This is the best playing 11 of the season. Ollie should stick to it, says Shandy. Well, Pogba comes in, doesn't he? When Pogba's fit, Pogba comes in. Well, Rashford's getting a lot of the ball and Dan James is getting a lot of the ball. We need to get Martial on the ball a little bit. Oh, you a Tory, Mark. I don't do politics. Have we given up on Maguire slab heading a goal? Says Gold Peace Prosperity. Oh, it'll happen at some point. It's going to happen at some point. Mata is on the bench, Ezzy Jr. Just to let people have a little bit of context to this game as well, actually. Let's just go around it here. If you look at the league table at the moment, Manchester United currently in 14th place. If we lose today, we will drop a place because Wolves or Villa, whatever the result, will go above us. If we draw today, we can go up to 12th. And if we win today, we can go from 13 points all the way up to 13 points. We can go up to 7th if we win today. Counter that, if Brighton win, they're in 5th. So, yeah, it's an interesting scenario, isn't it? How it could work out today for Manchester United. I know you wouldn't, but if you had to get a current player's name on the back of your shirt, who would it be? Says Aaron Glacier. I'm way past all that, Aaron. I think, God, I really wouldn't want to do it because it's just not what I do. I used to do it years ago. I've had Beckham on my shirt and all sorts. But if I had to put a United player on the back of my shirt now, probably Martial. He is my favourite player. 28 Divi says Andreas is just clueless, and Fatness and scripted Sharath Kamath, welcome mate. He says, Mark, do you know why Maguire is the captain? Because Ashley Young is out. He's suspended. But what is interesting is, and Drawty was talking about this the other day. Apparently, De Gea has been reprimanded by the club because, remember he did that interview after the game when he said we were awful and it's not acceptable. Apparently the club didn't like that and have told and won't allow him to do any more post-match interviews, and he's been stripped to the captaincy. And I thought, well, take that with a pinch of salt. It's not true, but De Gea was captain on the opening day of the season, so he was clearly going to be the captain, and now he's had it taken off him. When Pogba comes back, would you play him where Pereira plays, says Josh Brownswood. I'd play you where Pereira plays at the moment, to be honest. I'm hoping Pereira can put in a good performance. My brother bought me a Lingard shirt, says Brandon Slaughter. Just use it to wipe the toilet. And do you think Ollie trusts Carrick for more than Phelan, says Christopher Lou. I don't know. I don't know who Ollie trusts more. I mean, some people think it's McKenna. But McTominay's had a good start to the game, considering he took a knock at the week on Thursday night. He's had a good start to the game. He's shown some energy, which is really important. And the thing is, we're 13 minutes in already, and I think United are doing okay. I've not seen anything from Brighton this far that worries me too much. There was talk of a handball for United there, but it's a very similar handball to the one in the Leicester-Arsenal game last night where it hit a Leicester player on the hand. If you're going down... Oh, that's what she said. If you're going down from to the ground, you're very unlikely to get given a handball against you because it's actually in the rules. Yeah, so look, we're very uncertain with VAR, but these days the way it works is if it hits your hand in the box, you're normally going to get a penalty given against you. But if your hand is down to support you falling and it hits your hand, it's never going to be a penalty. Who do you think is the best player in our squad? Jack Dolan. In fact, the person on the radio who's obviously very pro-United is saying it's a handball and he should be sent off. It's interesting when you get people paid as pundits who don't understand the rules. It is quite clearly there in the new handball rules that if the ball hits your hand and you're using your hand to support you hitting the ground, it won't be given. Maddison is so good, it would be lovely for United to get him, says Andy Zhu. We've just had a chance for Manchester United with Rashford as well. It's a really good run from Rashford coming in off that left-hand side and straight at the keeper, really, but it's a good run from Rashford. I think Rashford is not a good player when he's in the box and he's got his back to goal. I think Rashford's a player with ball at his feet. He makes a better impact, and that was a bit of a good chance for United there. Marcus Curvin says Real Madrid would be prepared to offer James Rodriguez to Manchester United as part of a deal for Paul Pogba. Yeah, we spoke about on that the other night. I mean, I like Rodriguez. He's way better than Pereira, Mata, and Lingard. Mata is so good. Maddison is so good. It would be lovely for United to get him, says Andy Zhu. But I think that Manchester United have started off quite well in this game so far, and I think that Brighton have shown very, very little in the game. So I'm pretty happy with it. Manchester United in front, Pereira with the goal. What did you think of Sheffield United disallowed goal? It shouldn't have been disallowed. Well, Martial gets acres and acres of space and he gives it to Pereira. He shoots and it deflects in. It's a little bit soft, but we'll take it. It's 1-0 to Manchester United. And look, Pereira's had a lot of stick over the last few days. And maybe, you know, those sort of things can... I'm not going to say it can change a career, but he gets a little bit of luck there. And I certainly think in Pereira there is a player. It's just whether he can be consistently good enough for Manchester United. But we've got that golden goal in the first 20 minutes that we desperately needed. United going in front. I think we've got some ridiculous record when we are in front at Old Trafford. And as I said, I've not been impressed with Brighton so far. They've offered very, very little. And United have just been flirting around the goal, and they've got the goal. Martial with the assist. You see, Martial just brings so much quality to that Manchester United side, and he is the one who gives the assist. It's a little bit lucky, and I'm sure people will say it's lucky, but haters will say it's lucky, but it's Manchester United 1-0, and it's Andres Pereira. Their keeper can do nothing about it. United leading 1-0, and we've got that goal in the first 20 minutes. That's the main thing. And Pereira... You know, Pereira's got the goal and he'll be very happy with it. And there's a tweet I need to do. Deflected, but they all count, and United have got that early goal. And I tell you what, I came into this game with some positivity today. I fancied United today, and we are 1-0 up, which is great. We've had a super chat from Rob Riley. He says, I think Ollie needs to concentrate on midfield in January. My preference would be Sandro Tonali and Bruno Fernandes. They'd make United more direct. The midfield is the area that United need to improve in. But I'm encouraged by this start by United. We've gone and got the early goal, which is important. Brighton have picked up another yellow card here, so you know maybe we get a red card. It's a late tackle on Dan James, and it's a definite yellow card. So yeah, you know, this is a good start from United. Brighton have had two players booked. We've got the early goal. We know we're not so great in the second half. And everything so far with United's gone to plan. I just had that feeling. I had that feeling at the start of the stream, didn't I? I had the feeling that United would just be... would get it done today. And to be honest with you, from what we've seen of Brighton so far, this is the crap Brighton I thought they were. Keep it going. And it's 2-0! It's 2-0 to Manchester United. It might be. I think it's McTominay who gets it. It's a cross comes in. We get onto Harry Maguire's head, and it's sort of bouncing around the line. And I think Scott McTominay gets it over the line. Well, this Brighton are shit. I told you. I said they're rubbish. Where are they getting all their points from? But Manchester United are cruising here. It's like what should be happening against Brighton. I think we're all in a sense of shock ourselves. The cross comes in. Harry Maguire gets up. It's floating around. And I think Scott McTominay helps it over the line. Are you doing it in there? I don't trust those plugs. Just if it power cuts. I'll do it after.
That's what I'm checking.
A goal from a set piece. Saviour at last, says Cusho Chimney. Can we play Brighton every week? Well, it might be disallowed. They're looking at arms. It's been given. It's a goal. But they're checking it on VAR. There's some talk of maybe a bit of a handball because the balls are up in the air. But it's been given. It's Manchester United 2, Brighton 0. And look, can we play Brighton every week? Three points in the bag and we've only had 20 minutes. Can we play Brighton every week? Lovely stuff. We'll change the score. I've got to wait these days. You've got to wait for VAR. It's just the way it goes. You just never know how it might go. So we are 2-0 up. And we're up to 7th in the league. And I hate VAR, by the way. I just have to tell you all that every time. Please do subscribe to the channel if you're new. We're back. Ollie's at the wheel. We're going to be fighting for the title by Christmas the way things are going. But Brighton have been awful, absolutely awful, and United just very comfortable. Don't jinx it, Mark. Let's go United, says Christopher. Hey, I'm not jinxing anything, mate. We're 2-0 up against Brighton, and they've been dreadful, and we don't. Our defence is quite good. We've got it done. The only thing I would say is, does anybody know who delivered the cross for the goal? Because that's exactly the sort of cross you need to put in for Harry Maguire. Like that's how, I know Maguire doesn't score it, but that's the first cross we've put in about 3 months that for Harry Maguire to get on and cause a problem. And Harry Maguire won't score every cross. He will score crosses, but he will create things for other people. Instead of hanging it up, we actually put it in at space. And it was Fred who put the cross in. A lot of people are saying Fred. I thought we'd scored a third for a moment. A clean sheet is really important in this game. Says Joshua Kane. I'd be happy for the game to finish now, Joshua. If somebody said 2-0, I'd finish that game after 20 minutes. I'd be well happy. I'd come out of that into the international break and I'd feel good. I'd be happy with that. It's an own goal, apparently. I don't think it was Andreas who put the cross in because it was a left-footed cross. So I'll go with Fred without having seen it. But Brighton have just not started off very well at all. And Let's go for 5-0, says Christian B. Let's boost our goal difference up a little bit more. But the game is still very young. But I think United now, it's about just keeping your heads and keeping the foot on the pedal, because there's so long to go in the game. You don't want to be, dropping off your intensity levels at all. Talking about intensity levels, we've got nearly 17,000 people watching. Please do subscribe if you're new. We're 200 subscribers away from changing that number to 579,000 subscribers. The United Stand is YouTube's biggest Manchester United fan channel. We're live every night at 8 o'clock. We've got fan cams, we got transfer news, we've got breaking news, previews, loads of stuff on the United Stand. We'll have loads of stuff over the international break as well. And we've got Ollie back at the wheel. No, I'm not going to start on that crap, but it's been a good performance from United, and it's United's best 11 until Pogba comes back. Let's not forget, this is about as good as it gets for United until we get Pogba back. So 2 good goals. Not 2 good goals. The Pereira goal's a little bit fortunate, but having said that, Martial was in a very, very good position in the box. He could have shot himself. He laid it off to Pereira and it deflected in. You got to be in it to win it. And then the next goal, I think, is, people. I'm sure there will be people saying United are lucky to be 2-0 up because both goals, one's an own goal and one's a deflection. But the reality is the cross by Fred onto Harry Maguire's head is exactly what we should have been doing for the last 3 months, because it will cause people problems. And Maguire gets it down towards the goal and then it ends up in the goal. So it's, United deserve the lead. Brighton knocked the ball about well, but they've not caused us any problems. And I think it is game over. I do. I don't see United as the sort of team that concedes 2 goals. So I think we're home and hosed. Maybe getting a bit carried away, but Young should never start before Williams again. Dazu, there's nothing carried away about that. Ashley Young shouldn't be starting for United. And nobody talks about this. First goal, Fred does a 40-yard ground pass from his own half into the forward, takes out 4 Brighton players, just saying. Well, Fred's had a massive part in both games, Sharath, and I'm going to tweet it out because I do have a lot of followers, and you're right. I don't think it does get stated enough how much Fred is improving. There we go. Fred appreciation tweet at Mark Goldbridge on Twitter. You can follow me there if you want to. United are up to 7th in the league. Yep, they are. And we're comfortable at the moment. Brighton probably a little bit shell-shocked. But they're not doing very well at all. They're not doing very well at all. Carl Rayner says, Mark, I wish you could watch this game. Williams is phenomenal. Looks like his 50th game instead of his first, with the maturity and intensity. Well, yeah, a lot of love coming in for Brandon Williams, and he's just been very assured so far, hasn't he? Young's been off corners of late as well. Noticed, says Kushrao Chinoy. Ashley Young should be off on a Caribbean cruise for Christmas, to be honest. We don't need him at Old Trafford. Go and get some nice weather, or a Scandinavian cruise if you like it cold. Moss is a plonker. I bet it's 4-0, says Sandberg. I tell you what, if we could get 4-0, that's the sort of result you would expect against a team like Brighton, isn't it? And we should have maybe had a penalty on Marcus Rashford. Are you watching the game, says Ethan Howes? I'm listening to it on radio. A lot of people saying it's not a penalty. They've reviewed it anyway. I think there's in relation to penalties now, if you think that's a penalty on Rashford or you don't think it's a penalty, the problem is I always state the penalty that Mane got in the last minute against Leicester when it was 1-1. And he felt slight contact and he went down and they gave it. But since then, they've not given those types of penalties. We saw against Bournemouth last week, that would have been a penalty if Mane's was a penalty, but they haven't given it. We saw Son in the penalty box against Everton last week. Again, contact, but they decide they go down too easy. And it's the same with Rashford there. They seem to... I've always been a firm believer that if there's if there's contact in the box and you go down, you've got every right to go down and it should be a penalty. Brighton just had a very, very good chance from the cross. Poor defensively for Manchester United, and it should have been 2-1. Someone give Moss some oxygen, says Sean Fennerty. Yeah, that ref always looks absolutely knackered. He's obviously is passing the fitness test, isn't he? But so for me, in relation to these penalties, they seem to have changed their mind on them. Brighton should have scored then. You're right, Richie. It was a big chance for Brighton. Gold Piece Prosperity says that Brighton are the crowd are going quiet. Brighton are getting back into it. And Brighton have had another yellow card. So they've got 3 players on yellow cards. So this is this is the perfect game for United at the moment. We're 2-0 up. They've got 3 players on yellow cards. You might fancy them getting a red at some point. So Brighton just look awful, don't they? I mean, realistically, United, be interesting to see what we do in the second half, whether we've got the energy levels in the second half because we played on Thursday. But I think we've got the game. I think we've got the game done, haven't we? And Brighton, considering they've had a week's rest, they don't look very good at all. Cade Danish says, does Mark know that this Brighton team has beaten Spurs 3-0? Why is he bantering them? I've been very open about that. I've said my disrespect for Brighton is totally unfair, but I predicted Brighton to go down, and I always just think Brighton are shit. And to be honest with you, there obviously is something about Brighton that's good, but I've not been impressed with them, and they're 2-0 down after half an hour. So I can't pretend to be impressed by Brighton when I don't think they've been very, very good in this game. But obviously they have been good throughout the season. Yeah, there was a minute's silence at the start, yeah. Brighton are getting ratty. Red card incoming, says Michael Knighton. I think there will be a red card for Brighton because the way they play football, they're very tenacious in their tackle and their press, and they've got 3 players on yellow cards. Greetings from Dublin, Mark, says Eden Kelly. I just finished that Dublin Murders actually last night as well. Really enjoyed that. Bit of an odd final episode, sort of telling you that it's a bit about the supernatural, which I'm not all for that, but there you go. David De Gea's gone down at the moment with a bit of an injury. What are you having for tea, Mark? Says Mr. Pineapple Jr. I don't know. I had a roast chicken at lunch, so not just a roast chicken. I had Brussels because we're moving into that sort of time of year. Brussels sprouts, some carrots, lovely gravy. Cranberry sauce and roast potatoes and chicken. I didn't have any stuffing or bread sauce, which is disappointing, but it didn't make a big difference. It was still really nice. Mention me, says Philip Botterill. 30 minutes, Fred and Rashford are the best players so far. Williams sold. The reason why we are looking good is they are playing nice football, but we are countering. Fitness and scripted. I think you've hit the nail on the head twice there. I'm taking a few notes for my match reaction, as I always do, and I've underlined Fred and Williams, and I'm going to underline that as well. Brighton style suits us. They're not sitting back. I'm guessing Looks like the Christmas tree is going up, Mark, says Charles Murphy. Yep. Get the decorations down, love. They're going up. Don't care if they call us chavs. It's November the 10th. United are winning. International break. We'll put it up. De Gea's all right, by the way. And 3-0 before half-time, please, says Ring. Look, I think United will score next. Brighton just don't look into it at all. And how much is that down to United playing well, and how much is it down to Brighton playing badly? I think it's a mixture of both. I don't think Brighton have played particularly well, but I think that, you know, they're pressing so high up the pitch, Brighton, that I think United are a good team against the team that presses up the pitch. So it suits United. Then they're getting space. Brighton have just got this totally. Well, Paul said it in the first half, didn't he? It's if United play against a team that is naive enough to not sit back, then we will beat them. Would you kiss DT's forehead for 10 quid, says Red Devil? No, I wouldn't do it for 100 times that. And are you happy, Mark, says Atib M? I am happy. We needed these 3 points today, and I think it's all going to be about what happens after the international break, isn't it? I'm not surprised by this today, is what I would say. I wasn't expecting a bad result. Fitness and scripted Sharath Kamas says Rashford has more chances of becoming a world-class winger than becoming a good striker. I hope Martial stay fit and he never plays number 9 again. Fair points. Brighton are really bad, says Tony Pearson, and a lot of love for Brandon Williams. We needed the 3 points today. Do we need Ollie at the wheel, says Emmanuel? Well, I think, you know, Ollie at the wheel will be sung today, and everyone will be very happy. And I always think, you know, regardless of your situation, you want to win going into an international break, because 2 weeks is a long time after a bad result. And at least with a good result, we can maybe start thinking about getting players back and transfers and things like that. So it's always important to go into the international break with 3 points, and I think the circumstances we've got them in today. Has there been a massive difference between the two sides? Not massive, but United have been better. We've created more. Much support from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, USA, says Joe Dulka. But yeah, 2-0 to United. What have we got? We've got about 7-8 minutes till half time. But we're a good side against teams that can't let us counter. And I'm surprised they've come here and played so open. But that's the way it is. That's the way it is. And I'll tell you what, if United do win, we're only 1 point behind Arsenal, which is hilarious, isn't it? Up to 7th place. And I hope Martial gets his goal. That's the next goal we want to see. Jonathan Brandt says who scored and who got the assist. So the first goal was the ball found, and a great ball from Fred to get us going. Finds Martial in the box, who lays it off for Pereira, who shoots, and it goes in off the Brighton player. A little bit fortuitous, but Martial was in a very, very good position. And then the second goal, cross comes in from Fred from a free kick. Maguire gets up to head it down, and it ends up going in the nets. I liked the second goal better. Rashford is down at the moment. I don't know whether it's... Yeah, I think it's more of a collision, and he's probably just winded himself. I don't think it's anything too serious. Matt Baker says, can you ask Veronica to make me a cup of tea, please, dude? Veronica, get the tea on. Come on. He's watching the football. Unless you're watching the football as well. But he'll get one in the second half. And are you Irish or English, says David O'Connor. I don't know why people would think I was Irish. I lived in Ireland for 3 years, but I'm not Irish. Saeed Hasna Razia says, what's your views on Andreas Pereira? Well, that's the sort of question I would like to put out to the live comments. What is your view on Andreas Pereira? I mean, he's had so much stick the last few weeks. He's got a goal today. It was a deflected goal. He's done all right. He's done all right, hasn't he? And Zulu Warrior says it's not how you start, it's how you finish. Well, yeah, I think United have got this game won, and I know people will say, oh, you're being way too early, you're jinxing it, but 2-0 up at home, the way we've been defending this season, we should have the game done. But the thing is, second half, United always drop off. And we did play a lot of these players on Thursday. So 2-0, they always say 2-0 is a dangerous score in football, but the way this game is going, I fancy Manchester United to score first. Score the next goal anyway. Would you rather have United win 10 consecutive titles or have your porn search history made public, says Howard Walters. I wish it was that simple that I could make my search history public and we win 10 titles. Unfortunately, it's not going to happen, is it? Pogba, get another goal before half-time, says Tumas. Imagine Pogba in the number 10. Yeah, I think that's the thing we've got to build towards. Get Pogba back and put him in that number 10 position. But against the right sort of team, I think United are a good side. I think the way that any team that wants to play football against us, we're good against. Any team that sits back, we're struggling a bit. Wolves are winning 1-0. Neves has scored a banger, says Harry Kondo. Second goal was also due to Scott's tenacity and effort to make it pass before goalkeeper catches it, says Entin Kashiap. Yeah, I think McTominay's played well in this game. I do. I think McTominay and Fred have played well. Which is surprising because it's not surprising, but they obviously played midweek. We're on 578,900. We're only 100 away from changing that counter to 579. So please do subscribe to the channel if you're new, bottom right hand corner. You won't regret it if you are new. I'm surprised that we still get newbies coming to the United Stand. Everyone should know about it now. Fantastic community. And get yourself involved. Subscribe, bottom right hand corner. And if you have subscribed, please do click the share button. Share it on Facebook and Twitter. I am doing a watch along for Liverpool Man City on the That's Football channel 4:30 if you want to join me for that as well. Looking forward to that one. I'll enjoy it a lot more if United have won. Cross came in from Brighton there, but it's gone wide. Biggie Third says Rashford has got no football brain. Rance is right. He is at best a moment player. He gets the ball, heads down and run. Just ran himself into a player. Yeah, but you know what? I think that I've always liked Rashford. I totally admitted, and it was another good header from Brighton there, actually. Williams is playing really, really well, Quasi. I've always liked Rashford. He deserves criticism. I criticised Martial at the end of last season, even though he's my favourite player. No player is above criticism. You can't just have favourites and ignore the fact that they've not been good enough. And Rashford, for a long time this year, has been awful. But I think since Martial's come back, we've seen a better Rashford. And I think Rashford off the left wing is a better player. So people say, oh, he's got no football brain and he just runs, gets his head down and runs. Well, that's less of a problem if you're a winger, because a winger who gets his head down and runs at his opposition is a threat. So I think Rashford is a better player when he's running at goal. I think in that number 9 position, he's no good. And we've seen it time and time again. When crosses come in the box, he's got no movement in him. Dan James has done nothing, says Philip Bottrell, but we're 2-0 up, mate. Let's not be too negative. We're 2-0 up. Let's work with that. Martin says Pereira's been not United midfielder, let's be honest. I mean, he has been the quietest out of the midfield 3, hasn't he? Even though he's got the goal. And Zay Miassi says, Mark, would you swap Pogba for Hazard as he's not enjoying Real and Zidane likes Pogba? I don't see where Eden Hazard would fit in at United. I suppose you could play him on the left, but we've got Dan James on the right. I mean, look, and United have just had another chance with Rashford there. Martial's pressing has been so impressive so far, says Christopher Liu. Just Dan James putting another good cross in there. I mean, for the person who says that Dan James has done nothing, he's actually put 2 really good crosses into the box that Rashford hasn't attacked, and Brighton have been able to put it out for a corner. Jonathan Barnes says we need to keep the pressure going. I'd like to see us get the third goal before half-time because I don't trust United in the second half. But I'd be absolutely stunned if we don't win this game, even from 2-0. And maybe, just maybe, we're going to see a United team in the second half play well because the momentum's all with United at the moment. Superb break. Fred releasing James, who only just misses out on finding the runs of Anto and Rashi, says Gold Piece Prosperity. United have definitely benefited today from the fact that Brighton have tried to play on the front foot and they've tried to press us high up the pitch, and we've been able to bypass that pass and really exploit the spaces in behind. I actually feel that if Brighton had come into this game and just sat back like teams like Newcastle have done against us, it may be 0-0. We've benefited from the fact that Brighton want to come and try and play football, and so thanks to Brighton for that. I know that sounds really sarcastic, but we've benefited from the fact that Brighton have come here confident. Would you take Ruben Neves, says Jay Singh? I think there's better players United can take, but also I think that he's better than everything that we've got. Rashford's just got a yellow card. How can I watch the game, says AH Games? I'm sure somebody in the live comments will let you know. And what do you do on going for Goldbridge, says message 2. I sit there and answer questions. That's quite an easy answer. Sid says Williams over Young, clearly. Oh yeah, 100%. I'm just going to have to stand up. Stand up, stand up. I'm your brother. Oh, my back's really hurting me today. Varun Chanda says this is the first time since Fred has joined that he has 3 or 4 good games in a row. Varun, look, I remember saying this back in March when Fred was playing because we had midfield injuries, that he needs to be given about 10 games in a row and then we'll understand how good Fred is. And it didn't happen, but it's happening now. And he is getting better by the game. Fred is really becoming a Premier League player. Brandon Williams is great to watch, says Cole. Well, the thing about Fred is we did spend £52 million on him. So, if he becomes what we thought we were buying, yabba dabba do. Yeah, I would like to go swimming. It's good for your back. I'm getting a shooting pain down my left leg, which is always a bad sign with the back. Got another yellow card for a Brighton player now. We're surely going to see a sending off in this game for Brighton. Really love going for Goldbridge. Great content, says Simon Cliff. Thanks, mate. If people ever want to watch Going for Goldbridge, it's a weekly question and answer thing I do on my channel, which is called the Mark Goldbridge channel. Pure and simple. Dan James has gone down, so we've got a yellow card again. So I think they've had 5 players booked, I think. John Moss even looks tired when he's handing out yellow cards. It's because it's all the heavy lifting. He needs to have a sit down. He can't wait for half time. Anyway, we've had 4 minutes added on in this half. 4 players have been booked, says Martin. Thank you. It's not the second half yet. Pereira with a shot there. That was a better shot than the one that went in. Didn't get the deflection this time. Sounds like you need a more comfortable chair, Mark. You'll be using a cane by Christmas, says Alligator. It's probably a lot of it's to do with our sleep, to be fair. But we should be getting half time. We should be getting on to half time very soon. And it could be a decent Saturday. We had a nice Saturday evening yesterday with Leicester beating Arsenal. I know it puts Leicester further ahead than us, but I just find Arsenal losing funny. And Man City, Liverpool to come as well will be a lot better watch if United have got 3 points as well. Pereira is also doing so well, says Mike. I'm loving it. And Stephen Lewis says you can watch every United game on manunitedpeople.com for £9 every 3 months. Okay. And Mark, do you play Fantasy Premier League? No, I don't, Lynn. I used to. It's just to do it well, you've got to take a lot of time, and I don't have the time. And Pereira's definitely showing better signs today, says Tomas. I just, very happy with United being 2-0 up at half time. I think we got the 2 goals in the first 20 minutes, which is exactly what we needed to do. And yeah, the game slowed down a little bit since then. I just wonder what United will do in the second half, because we're normally a bad team in the second half. We've done a lot of things in this game that we don't normally do. So maybe in the second half we can put in a good performance, because we never do that. But we're at half time now. And it'd be interesting to see how the second half goes, because I think first half we've been pretty good, but it's about what we do in the second half, isn't it? Right, half time. What are your thoughts on that? Please subscribe to the channel if you're new. But half-time, Manchester United leading 2-0. First goal from Andreas Pereira. Martial picks it up in the box, lays it off to Pereira. He gets the shot away. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer walking off like a don, smiling, happy. Ollie's at the wheel. He'll milk a good performance, because he's got to. I've got no problem with Ollie doing that. He will milk a good performance. And 2-0. And Brighton, look. Recently, Brighton have obviously been doing very, very well, but I don't get what they're all about. I think West Ham played better than Brighton against us. I think they've really flattered to deceive, and I don't want to say it in this way, but I will say it. I've been disappointed with Brighton, because I've not watched them all season. I've seen from afar that I predicted they'd get relegated, and that they've been picking up points all over the place. I always felt that United against Brighton was a 3-pointer. But then all week, people have been saying, look at where Brighton are in the league. They're a good footballing team. You're going to be surprised by Brighton. They're well organised. They're a good footballing team. They're doing really well. You're going to get really surprised by Brighton. And I've been like, well, who have they got? I know a couple of their players, but I just don't see it. I don't see it. And to be honest, we haven't seen it. I think Brighton have got 4 yellow cards. They're 2-0 down. They've done sod all, apart from a couple of set pieces. And I think they look like they're not far off Norwich, that sort of level. So I don't know whether Brighton are having a bad day. I don't know whether United are having a good day. I mean, I wouldn't say United are having a great day. I think there's been some good performances. We've not dominated the ball. We've not had loads of chances, but we've definitely been the better team. I just think Brighton have been pretty poor. And it sets it up nicely for the second half, because I think this game is over. I think United have won this game. So it's going to be interesting to see how mentally United deal with the game in the second half. Will they get tired? Will they go for a third goal? Will they protect what they've got and give up the ball? Will Brighton go for it more? It's going to be an interesting second half, because we know that United in the second half have not been doing that well. So I'm interested to see how we're going to approach it. But no question that United deserve to be in front. As I said, the first goal from Pereira deflecting from a good assist by Martial. And then the second goal, nice cross by Fred. I think finally we're putting balls into the box that Maguire's good at. It's not lofted up, it's delivered in at pace, and Maguire's up there, nods it down, bit of a mess around the 6-yard box, and it ends up in the back of the net. They're saying it's an own goal. It looked like it was McTominay who tapped it in. But the reality is, we're 2-0 up. Chuck in Bangkok says, the most exciting first half of the season. I like this lineup. No Mata, no Young, no Matic. Chuck, I agree. I think if this is our best team until Pogba comes back, to be honest with you. And this is the team I want to see him building out with. I don't want to see Ashley Young in the team anymore. I certainly don't want to see Matic. And I don't think there's any future in Mata either. So I'm glad that Pereira played today, and I'm glad that he's got his goal. Jordan Such says, shame this couldn't be the case against Palace, Southampton, Newcastle and West Ham. Doing it when top 4 is gone in November. Well done, boys. And Jimmy Ladd says, this 4-3-3 formation works well for United, as we've all been saying for some time. Great to see the lads doing well so far in this game. Positives. I prefer this to the 3-5-2. Definitely do prefer it to that, Jimmy Ladd. But what I don't like about this is I still think we should have one centre defensive midfielder, not 2. I would rather see McTominay sitting with Fred and Pereira doing box to box, rather than the situation that we have where Fred and McTominay sit and Pereira plays more advanced. But the build-out will be get Pogba back and drop Pereira. Whether he'll do that or not, I don't know. But that's what I would be looking to do. I'd really like to see that happen. But look, it was all about 3 points today. And it's been rare that I've come into a United game this season feeling confident. So, yeah, I'm happy with it. I'm very, very happy with it. Just getting rid of Simon Luisisa. We're not interested in that. Fred covers Williams well, says Dave Witt. Greenwood on in the second half, please, says Michael Jones. I think we will see Greenwood at some point because of the tired legs. We'll definitely see Lingard at some point. Martial's been poor, says Davian Frances. I love that comment, Davian, and I'm sorry to expose you, but I absolutely love that comment because Martial's not been poor. He's got an assist and his work rate has been phenomenal. How many chances has Martial had to score a goal? None. But his work rate, his movement for others, his hold-up play, he's got an assist. It's not always if Martial had scored, you'd say he'd had a good half. He's done well. He's working well for the team. I really hope Saeed will stop trash-talking Fred today in the fan cam, says Pumpkin by Slate. Well, he's had to backtrack on his Ollie out thing. Remember, Saeed was Ollie out. He said Ollie out about 3 weeks ago, so he might have to change his mind today. Would you have Bay and Twansibi in the side, says Alex Marmon? I would like to see Twansibi playing next to Harry Maguire, to be honest with you. And United have never lost a game at Old Trafford when we're winning in half-time in the whole Premier League era, says Nerman. We ain't going to lose today. I think this game is done. I don't think we're going to see anything other than a Manchester United win now because we're looking comfortable. Paul, can you hear me? We've got Paul on for second half. We spoke about that first 20 minutes being key, and it has been key for Manchester United, Paul, so far.
Yes, it has. I mean, we got 2 goals. We're winning. I don't know if there's much more I can say about it, to be honest.
We're not overly impressed with United then. I mean,
no.
I don't really know how to gauge it because I've never watched Brighton, but my theory is that Brighton are shit, but they're obviously not because of where they are in the league. But I think they are one of the worst teams we've played this season. They're so 4 yellow cards in 45 minutes, nothing going forward apart from set pieces. They look like a team that should be relegated. I'm surprised they're as high in the league as they are. But that makes me think, are we being a little bit unfair on United? Or is it a United playing exceptional or a Brighton playing terrible? I think the one thing I would say is, we spoke about this before the game, Brighton, the way they've approached this game are ridiculously naive because United play well against teams that press them high up and leave space in behind, and they've done that away from home. It's been a free ticket for United at times.
Yeah, we're well organised. I'll give you that. I mean, we're breaking up their attacks. They're not getting anything. Our defence is doing a good job being screened by 2 CDMs. Fred's coming into his own. Every game he seems to be getting better and having more of an effect on the game. But I could give a sugar-coated view of the match, or I can give an honest view. And my honest view, if I was going to be objective about it, is our football is trash. We can't keep the ball. We run as fast as we can towards the goal when we get it, and inevitably lose it, or just hold up and start passing backwards. I'm going to get pelters for this. We're winning 2-0. I was looking for a performance and a result. We're going to get the result, but our way of playing is exactly the same as it's been when we've been losing games as well. So I don't know whether, it's a masterclass from Ollie and we're just finishing our chances, or whether we should be doing better against a very poor Brighton team, and they're giving us space, they're giving us time to counter, they're giving us time on the ball, of which we're still giving away. So, brutally honest, it has much changed apart from the scoreline. Cue the pelters.
Yeah, I mean, Charles Crane says, is there going to be a watch-along for City Liverpool? There will be, and it'll be on That's Football, so you can join me for that. I'll talk about that later on. But bringing it back to Manchester United, I'm not going to pelter you, Paul, because I respect you and we get on. But I was confident United were going to win. I don't see how this season we could go from playing the way we have to putting in a performance a la Man City or Liverpool, really exciting football. So I don't think we were ever going to do that, but I understand your hunger for it because I want to see that as well. Tobias Grinfold says, Paul, are you mad? How is this trash? And I think I'm amazed how Brighton have approached this game. I think it's ridiculous to come to Old Trafford and press as high up the pitch. Doesn't matter what form we're in. We've got quick forwards. We've bypassed the press and we've got at them. Both goals are a little bit fortunate, but we totally deserve to be in front. And I think that this result today was just about 3 points and a little bit of a positivity, which we've got. I mean, Toxic Rush says that analysis from Paul is spot on. So there are a lot of people that agree with you. A few people say it's been a boring game. I think today is about, and a lot of people actually are agreeing with you, Paul, so you're not getting toxic stuff at all. But here's someone analysing the game properly. Great from Paul, says Dipanshu Kumar. I'll read the comments. I never want to see Ashley Young in the first team again. I like Williams more than Shaw, says Charlie Crane, which is fair enough. Off topic, but do you watch KSI versus Logan Paul? That's totally off topic, Jimmy Ladd, and I didn't watch it. But I think there's a culmination of things that Brighton haven't played well, and they've given us way too much space to hurt them. And I'm surprised Brighton have done that, Paul, because the one thing the United have done well this season against Chelsea, against Liverpool, against Arsenal, is teams that try and press us and create chances and leave space behind will hurt them. Teams that sit back and hit us on the break, we struggle against. And Brighton just seem to have come here today almost too confident.
Brighton are doing everything that we want them to do to give us opportunities to absolutely take them apart. You know, we should be pulling strings around this team. They're attacking, they're pushing men forward, they're leaving space in behind, and we're getting space to run into. And also, we're getting counter-attack opportunities where we should be getting more people up supporting Daniel James and more people in the box. But we got two CDMs and we sit back. Brighton are doing everything that we want them to do, and we're not taking advantage of it because of our poor play, whether that be players or whether that be formation tactics, I don't know. But Brighton are as poor a team as I've seen us play this season. And you just said, well, it's more about the 3 points today. If it's more about the 3 points today, I don't mean to pull you up on stuff, Mark, obviously, but if it's more about 3 points against Brighton and not again about the performance and the scoreline and you know, it's just about the result, just about getting up the table against Brighton, then we're really in trouble. We should be tanking these. I know we haven't had good performances recently, but and I'm going to get pelters for it, but we've been given space, we've been given time on the ball, and we're just, you know, we're still playing it backwards, we're still playing it sideways, we're still not being brave and breaking the lines. So I'm going over old ground, but I think the scoreline, it doesn't flatter us because we definitely deserve to be in front, and it's a positive performance. But it's only positive because the scoreline says it is. In terms of we should be, you know, how many chances have we had? That's the problem. I want 15 shots on goal against this Brighton. We're generally breaking down when we try to attack. So, sorry, Mark, I hate to be negative. But you're not, you know, it's the change I was looking for isn't there, and that's what I was hoping for. So
Peter Boothroyd says you're a good lad, and a new member in Aaron Kumar. Welcome, Aaron. You can join and be a member by clicking the join button. I love this game, says you're unfair, guys. Come on, always negative. We are playing much better than before. See, even I get lumped in, and I'm not even saying what Paul's saying, but there you go.
I'm doing it for you, Mark.
Yeah,
I'm taking
can't
the
do anything
belt
right.
today,
Jordan Such says, look at Southampton and West Ham recently, just as bad as Brighton, which is why I ain't giving any credit to United today. And Kirill Kokarev says, Ollie risks pays off so far. McSauce and Fred played better and more fluidly against Premier League Brighton than against Partizan playing now. More games together. Yep, it is working so far. And Akochu Patri Osawoi says, I think we are overanalyzing this. You are not playing against statues. How's about this then as a fair thing? I think that, you know, Brighton are obviously not playing that well, but United, how good are United really? And I just think this is where we're at. You've got a very, very angry fan base. I was very angry on Friday night. We're winning 2-0 here today. I think we all see the positive in that, but maybe we're not blinkered by that positive. You know, if we win today, are we all meant to start singing the Wheel song again? Of course not. You know, we've got Sheffield United after the international break, which we should win, but we know we could struggle in. We've got Man City and Spurs coming up soon as well at the start of December. So we know that, you know, even when we win today, which I think we will do, we've still got really, really big questions to answer, and we can't afford any more slip-ups because of where we are in the league. I think ultimately, Paul, and I'm just going to quickly pop for a quick toilet break and let you have your say about how you think the second half's going to go and whether we'll falter.
Okay.
We are just a team that's going to struggle a little bit because we're a mid-table club at the moment.
We're a team that's going to struggle because our midfield's poor and our ball retention's poor, which has been the same for a long time. We're always going to score goals because I think our front three have always got goals in them. If they had a midfield of a Liverpool, not a Liverpool actually, no, Liverpool's naff, but if they had a creative, solid, ball-retaining midfield behind them, we'll be banging in goals. So it's I don't think it's something we can change at the moment. I think it's just the quality of the midfield we have, and currently we're fielding our best midfield. So it's not all Ollie's fault. It's a mixture of tactics and players and quality. But I'm just looking for more. I'm being realistic. I'm being objective. I'm trying not to get caught up in the emotion of it all. We're winning 2-0. Are we convincing? Well, I'd like to know whether we are in the comments. Actually, are we convincingly beating Brighton, or are we playing the same way as we were before? And I know I'm going to take some pelts for being negative, but it's just the way I see it, guys. It's just the way I see the football being played rather than the actual 2-0 result on the screen. So hopefully the second half we're going to, be a bit more brave, get some more goals and step up our game. But I think it's just going to be the same sort of methodical sideways back passing, which we lynched Mourinho for. I hope Ollie is working towards something, but I can't see it at the moment. And that's my negativity towards Ollie. I want development and an end goal. And I'm still trying to figure out how he's working.
I think I may have missed the start of the second half. So I will let you get off back to that. But thanks for covering me there.
Probably best, mate. Yeah, because I'm getting destroyed, I think. So I'll catch you in a bit.
I'll get you back on. I was going to get you back on for the last 10 minutes, but because I'm listening to the radio as well, it ain't going to work to be able to listen to both.
No,
but
it's not really going to be. Yeah, it's not going to be viable, mate. No problem at all. Fingers crossed for the second half, and we're going to win this.
Cheers, Paul. Speak to you soon, mate.
Cheers, buddy.
Ta-da. Thanks to Paul there. Sorry I had to just pop off for a quick toilet break there. I don't know what's wrong with me today. I normally can do the whole 3 hours without going to the toilet, but I've got a what do they call it? I've got a bladder like a hedgehog's water bottle at the moment. But there we go. Manchester United, second half. We're up and running, and we've got a free kick actually early on here. So time is working. Yeah, good. Paul, this is an experienced team. We doing good, says Ali Games. So, second half from Manchester United. Will we see a good second half from Manchester United? That's the main thing. No, it's not. It's not that hole. It's coming out. Liv. It's wheeze. Not nothing. I've not had anything dodgy to eat or anything. Subscribers. Thanks everyone for subscribing. We've hit 579,000, which is great. Our next target's 580. So please do subscribe to the channel. Bottom right hand corner. Get involved with the United stand. We will have fan cams afterwards. I actually like the fan. I love the fan cams anyway, but I actually like the fan cams after a result like this, where there's a lot of negativity, but then we win, and we've had a lot of good performances. So, how do you spin it? How do you spin it if you're an Ollie outer? Because I get told you're definitely Ollie out, and then I'm like, well, I'm not Ollie out, and then we win, and I'm like, I'm glad I'm not Ollie out because we've won. But all those people who are Ollie out, who've got every right to be Ollie out, I'm not ridiculing you, you've got every right, but how do you spin it when we win a game like this? And I think, maybe what Paul was getting at there is one performance against Brighton enough to say, oh, everything's back to normal? I think we all know. The bad thing with United, again, is going to be, we'll win today, and then it's international break time, and this is probably going to be one of our better wins of the season. And you want that momentum, and you want to be playing Sheffield United next weekend, not 2 weeks time after the international break, which is just bloody typical, isn't it? Upbeat Sarcastic says, if we stick with Ollie, is everyone prepared to give him 3 to 5 years to learn how to be a decent manager? Probably limited success in that time. Glazer's out and Ollie out. Wholesale change is our only hope. What I would say about that Upbeat Sarcastic, and I'm quoting somebody from the show the other night, it's not even my quote, but it's one that resonates with me, is fancy getting a job where, what other club would let somebody come in and learn on the job? That's Manchester United. If you think about it, Sir Alex Ferguson got the job because of what he did at Aberdeen. And Moyes got his job for Everton. And Van Gaal got his job for all the things he'd done. And Mourinho got his job for all the great things he'd done. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been given the job to learn on the job. And since when would Manchester United be a club like that? And I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but since when have we become a club that lets a manager come in and learn on the job? We're Manchester United. Surely, that's the sort of thing a Bournemouth do with Eddie Howe, not United. Mark, if Woodward left, would you be Ollie out after? Says Zane Miassi. I think that's a very good question, Zane. And what I've said about Ollie is I'd like Woodward and the Glazers to go. And then what I'd like to see is a proper director of football to come in. And then they probably say to Ollie, look, I'm going to give you 3 months. And if you're no good, you're gone. That's what I would like to see happen. I'd like to see Ollie operate under a decent ownership. Can we win the league in the next 5 years? Says CSD. Yeah, we've just beat Brighton. Bill El Hassan, I would imagine it is, yes. We're Manchester United is my favourite catchphrase, says Kudos. Well, it's a true catchphrase. We're a big club. But, Brighton have offered absolutely nothing going forward apart from set pieces. So, be interesting to see how United are in this game. He needs time. Come on, miracles don't happen overnight, says MV. Ollie has the heart you can't buy. Money won't buy you loyalty. It just rents it, says Alex Greer. And Alligator says, I agree with Paul. It's not being negative. It's about being a realist. It's constructive criticism. I can't be all puppets and sunshine during a win. Well, you can't be a flip-flop as well, can you? You can't be saying United are atrocious and embarrassing and bordering on saying sack the manager and half the players, and then they win a game and you say, Ollie's at the wheel and the players are all good enough. I think United have done well today. I've been really pleased with Fred and McTominay. I think that we have got potential to grow into something. I said a couple of weeks ago that I don't think Ollie's story at United is over yet, anywhere near over yet. So we'll have to see how it develops. But I don't think this side, even today, if you put it up against any of the top four, it would get beat. It would get beat. Is Ollie good enough to win a title with? No, period, says Red Jedi. And Ali Games says, oldest player on the field is 26. We have to give time to Ollie. We need a few more players and we will be great. Mark, did you see Paul Scholes lineup? I did. And it had Marcus Rashford at number 10. And that straight away made me change my mind. Michael Jones said, Woodward is the problem because he appointed the last far managers. Mark, you're a flip-flop, says Stoic Savage. Well, you know what I would say to that, Stoic, is you're just somebody on a live comments probably trying to troll me. But if you want to actually give me evidence of it, then I will absolutely put you in your place, because it's just very easy to say somebody is a flip-flop because maybe they've changed their opinion on something. But I've never said the words Ollie out, and I've justified it so many times. And I was very late in saying Mourinho out. And I know it frustrates people, but I don't make my mind up about those things. I don't make my mind up about those things with any hint that I might change it back. So when I was Mourinho out, I knew he was done. And I'll be Ollie out when I know he's done, and not before. So, you can take your flip-flop and you can shove it up your arse, to be honest, because everybody changes their changes their mind on things, and that's life. But a flip-flop who is somebody who said on Thursday, I'm done with this team, I'm Ollie out, and then today he's like, oh, Ollie at the wheel. And you do get people like that, and that's what a flip-flop is. Apparently, McTominay is limping. I don't know whether that's true. It's just somebody in the live comments has said it. Yeah, I mean, De Gea's not been tested at all, has he? Spot on. McTominay's definitely not limping, by the way. Callum says that he can see it being 4-0. I hope so, Callum. And Imar Taki makes a good point. He says, let's not get carried away. United lose after they win anyway. So win today, which we will, and then go and win against Sheffield United, and then I think you're talking. We've beaten a team that no matter how bad they've been today, we're beating a team today that has been very, very poor. Been very, very good this season. If they'd won today, they would have been 5th in the league. So we're beating a team that's... I don't think they've played very well. I don't think they're very good, but they've had a very good season. If we then go and beat Sheffield United after the international break, well, they are a very good team and they are performing very well. And hopefully we're just catching these teams at the end of their form. Faris says thoughts on Brandon Williams' performance. Sensational because he's so young. So yeah, it's he's a big positive. Gypsy King says, Mark, come on, it's a home game. Let's not hype the manager. I'm not actually hyping the manager. I'm not. Paul's had his say. He says, it might be a handball for United here. Shot by Martial, hits the Brighton player on the arm. Jonathan Moss is saying no. I don't think it's going to get VAR reviewed either, which is funny because when players react like that. Have I been impressed with Martial, says Bad Panda? Yeah, because Martial hasn't scored, so he's had a bad game. He's got an assist. He's done loads of hard work. He's done the hold-up play. He's done what a number 9 needs to do. If you've ever played football, your number 9 creates so much through their hard work and they're running into areas to create space for other ones. Keegan Pillai says, I respect Paul for his insightful perspective. Great result, but what about overall quality? Our performances seem very similar week to week. What I liked about what Paul said at half-time the most was when he said, there is nothing different between the way United are playing today and the way they play when they lose. So either we're really unlucky when we lose, or we're lucky today, or we're just a mid-table team that consistently plays the same way, and sometimes it's good enough to win, and sometimes it's not. How rubbish are Andreas's corners, says Paul Banker. Well, they're better than bloody Young's. The issue with United is our inconsistency. We lose to teams we should be beating, but then get points against clubs also going for top 4 like Chelsea. That was opening day of the season, I suppose, Alex. Thanks for the contribution, by the way, Alex Marmon. But I still think into the second half, United are... United have still... I think the second half has continued the same way as the first half, with United on top. Brighton just don't look good. And we've got a red card review here, I think, on Williams' potential red card VAR review. I think he'll get a yellow. Nah, it'd be a yellow card, that. It's no way a red. Yellow card for Williams. Well, it's a high foot, but to be honest with you, he also gets the ball, so I don't think it would be a red. Never a red on Williams there. I bet his arse was going like a rabbit's nose though. There, you don't want to be getting a red card on your debut. That would be awful. Good to see Dan James score on his birthday. Yes, it would, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Mark, I smoke weed before the game, so I stay calm, says Amsterdam87. Well, with a name like that, who would have thought it? So Brighton are just making another substitution, which is their third of the game. 19.99. If you want to get a United Stand t-shirt, the link's in the video description. I was going to show you all of them today, actually, but I forgot to put the link in there. But yeah, if you want to get one for Christmas or for now, links in the video description. Get United Stand t-shirts. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as well if you're new. Bottom right hand corner. Half an hour to go in this game. I think United are home and hosed, aren't they? It's not been fantastic, but it's been job-like, hasn't it? Williams, 8 out of 10 performance for me, says Gold Piece Prosperity. I think it's going to be interesting, United now over this last half an hour, how much energy we've got left. Psychologically, they might be able to find another gear because it's international break coming up, isn't it? And we're winning at home, but it's my birthday, Mark, says Alan Finch. Happy birthday. Get Greenwood on. Williams or Shaw, Mark, says N. York. I don't get involved in that debate at all because you know what? I'd just be happy to have two good left-back options. You're going to get injuries, so especially with that. As long as it's not Ashley Young, I think we're all happy. United are almost boring to watch as Arsenal, says Amy Assey. Yeah, but the difference is we're winning, mate. When was the last time Arsenal won? Rashford had a really good opportunity there to get into some space, and I think it's ended up going wide for a goal kick. I think Pereira can become a decent level CAM if he improves his decision making. It's awful, says XCL37. He shoots. He shoots all the time. Pereira. He shoots too much. I am doing Liverpool versus Man City. Watch along, Kieran Hurry. That's on the Mark Gold. We'll just type That's Football. You'll find the channel. I think the stream's already set up for the live comments. So I'll go live at about 4:30. But the stream is already open if you want to join me for that one. And it'll be nice to do Liverpool versus Man City with the United win in our pocket. What a shot by Manchester United here from Fred. Decent shot, and the keeper has to put it over. Well, he doesn't put it over, he palms it down. It was straight at the keeper, to be fair. I think if that was anywhere else, that would have been a goal. And funnily enough, Jordan just said, how's Fred doing? Well, he's doing very well. He nearly got a goal then. I'd say it's his best game. Remember, Roy Keane was one of those players who, ex-players who really criticised Fred. So, Dynamite Magnifico says, I will take the win and a jump from 14th to 7th. However, both our goals were last touched by Brighton players. Our attack has generally been poor. LCT, who's impressed me the most? Well, I'll obviously talk about that in the match reaction, but I don't think there's been a bad performance from United today. And it's been good that we haven't really relied upon players like Wan-Bissaka, the normal sort of players, Martial. I think that the players that have stepped up to the plate today have been the players like Fred, and McTominay again has been good. Williams has been good. So how long will it take for Rashford to get James an assist? Says Entin Kashyap. Well, Brighton have just had their best bit of play there. They worked it from back to front really well. Best bit of play of the game, really. And they end up with a half chance that De Gea saves with his feet. Brighton are doing very, very well at the moment. They've gone up a level. United have gone a little bit lazy in this second half, haven't they? To be honest with you. And Brighton nearly got a goal there. And they have got a goal now. It's a corner for Brighton. Poor defending, and it's the same old story for Manchester United in the second half, isn't it? Cross comes in, they've got the momentum. We should have put this game to bed, and as per usual, United in the second half have got all the bite of a roadkill. They're absolutely just awful in the second half. United, I don't know how this keeps happening. Second half, Brighton 2-1, and it's game on now. And we've fallen asleep again, and we've come out, and it's you know what? I said if we end up drawing this game, maybe Paul was right at half time. Have we been that good in this game? Or have we, and will we come out in the second half like we never do? This game should be put to bed. I think Brighton have been awful. And United, as per usual, let a team back in. I tell you what, go and get the bloody third goal now and put this game to bed, because it's not like we weren't warned. Brighton had just had a really good bit of play to make it, to give themselves a chance for the corner, and then we've gone bloody concede from it. Should not be letting teams back in like that in a game like this. It's amateur hour, isn't it? And the thing is, though, Brighton have been so bad, but if they are a decent team, they're going to get confident now. I really do wonder what goes on in the half-time dressing room with United. I think they start having a warm down or something like that. Oh, the game's over. Pereira marking dunk just amazing, says 28 Divi. Well, I couldn't see who was marking who, but again, dunk is. It's 3-1. Rashford. There we go. That's what you want to see. Wrap it up and take it to Santa. Martial gets through. Pulls it back to Rashford. And it's a great finish by Rashford, the way he puts it in the top corner. And it's a great through ball by Fred. And it's Martial with another assist. And that's what you need to respond. Get out there and respond. 2 assists for Martial. Martial's been the star in this game. United back in front. Martial, 2 assists. Getting us out of jail there. Superb. What a response. And it's Fred again who's involved. Quick play. And that's what you need to do. Bloody hell. That is such a massive goal for United, because I tell you what, second half again. Going to sleep in the second half. But thank God, again, a team, they have to come out, Brighton. They've got to come back at us. And fortunately, it's allowed us to get that little bit of space at the back, but it's so what's the word? It's so unselfish from Anthony Martial. Some strikers in that situation, they're going to shoot on goal. He doesn't. He does what's best for the team. He finds he finds Rashford, and Rashford puts it home. It's a good finish, but a proper number 9, says Archie Mazzuro, from Anthony Martial, and that is what a proper number 9 does. He doesn't have anything else on his mind other than to find somebody in a better position to shoot. And Rashford delivers a very good finish. All right, he's in the box. But it's Anthony Martial. That's all about Fred and Martial again. Fred again with a good forward pass. Man of the match today, says Mr. Glenn Johnson. 3-1 to Manchester United. Having let Brighton back into it, which I think was a little bit silly. Well, at least you've got to applaud the fact that we've gone up the other end in the second half and got a goal. So really, really important. Still time left, but Martial has to be man of the match to Seymour Tuna Jr. Well, Rashford's just missed an open goal now. The game is so stretched. It's 2v1. It's Dan James. Dan James delivering an absolutely fantastic cross again, and Rashford misses an open goal. You couldn't write it. Rashford's just scored an absolutely brilliant finish. Easier chance, and he puts it wide. Misses an open goal. That's Marcus. Wrap that up and send it to Santa, because that's Marcus Rashford in a sentence, isn't it? Really good finish. Next chance even easier, and misses it. He hasn't got it. He just hasn't got it. In fact, I've heard that Marcus Rashford, when he has to be spoon-fed when he eats, because it's a 50-50 chance as to whether he'll put it in his mouth when he feeds himself or give himself a black eye. That's Marcus Rashford. Either brilliant or absolutely atrocious when it comes to his finishing. But yeah, it should be game. Well, I think it's game over anyway, but it should have been 4-1. Rashie is so crap. He says, "Oh no, I'm having a bit of banter there." Rashford's played well today. He's got the goal that should be the game to put it to bed. It's a bad miss, but come on. Martial has been so selfless. Rashie, the opposite, says Ernest Tabir. I don't think Rashford can be selfish when he's got an open goal in front of him. He's got to shoot. Lingard's coming on now for Pereira. Well, hey, hopefully Lingard can get a goal. Let's give him a bit of confidence. James with another beautifully timed run to 6-7-8-2. Really unfortunate, actually, that Dan James has not got an assist today. He could have had 3 again. Man said Rash gives himself a black eye eating. I'm sleep. That fell out, says Don Island. I am a big fan of Rashford, but I think we all know that Rashford, you just never know what you're going to get. You're going to get sometimes a brilliant finish and sometimes an amazingly bad finish. But, you know, I do agree with Ollie about that. He's a young player and maybe in time, is his finishing going to get worse? I don't think so. If it gets better, he'll become more prolific. Lingard's last goal was against Brighton, Mark. Lingard's United career seems to be heading towards the end now. Well, he's only 19. I think there's plenty of time. Miss worse than Ronaldo against Middlesbrough, says Rio Mia. Brandon Williams nearly scoring as well. United all over Brighton now. Favourite players at the moment, an ideal new director of football, says Charles Bantock. Cracking save by the keeper, Brandon Williams there, nearly making it 4-1. We've had 4 huge chances in the last 60 seconds, says Patrick St. Pierre. United are all over them. Absolutely all over them. Dan James this time and another good save by Brighton. It's 3-1, it's not 4-1, everybody. And Dan James missed the sitter. I mean, United could have had 7 or 8 this second half. It's been absolutely domination. I mean, and to be honest with you, the response from Manchester United from conceding that goal 2-1, I think we all thought, oh God, Brighton are going to go and get more and more. But United's response after that Rashford goal has been a real shot in the arm, and they've gone absolutely superb. So yeah, really, really good. Matty Ryan is Brighton's best player, says Daniel Ward. Martial is amazing, says David JS. We should be winning 10-1, says Anmar. And Ollie sub out Rashford. Well, he doesn't need to sub him out, to be honest with you, does he? Smalling back for Lindelof, says David Tilley. Well, we've got Twansibi to come back at some point, haven't we? Where did you get the haircut? Oh, God. Would you do a Football Manager 20 Manchester United save, says Alexander Corbin. I don't get Football Manager till Christmas, so I always do it in the new year, so I will be doing it. Absolutely. Well, look, this is what we needed on a Sunday afternoon. We needed to be going into the international break with something. And it's a foul on Lingard that gives United a free kick on the edge of the box. Mr. Glenn Johnson says, all the missed chances and penalties this season, we could have had at least 10 more scored goals. Hopefully with the time, they will become more clinical. Brighton have just not been in this game, really. I know they got the goal back, but they've not really been in this game. And United have totally and utterly deserved this result today. And look, we deserve to be where we are this season. We haven't been good enough, but we deserve to win today. And I think, I felt if anyone was live when the team news came in, I just felt positivity today. And I think that has gone through the team. And I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I'm going to save that till my match reaction, what I'm going to say about Solskjaer. I think it deserves to be at the start of a video rather than lost in the watch along. Rashford's hit the ball into the free kick, into the wall. The goal we conceded is not acceptable with tall defenders like Maguire and Lindelof. And where was De Gea against a better team? These kind of mistakes will lose us the game, says Cipriano. I think today, United have just been rampant today. And I think that James and Williams, man of the match, says gold, peace, prosperity. I don't think people will agree with you that. I don't think people will agree with that. I think that a lot of people are going to say Fred, if I'm absolutely honest with you. I am doing a watch along tonight this afternoon in about an hour's time actually. Liverpool versus Manchester City. I will be doing that live on That's Football if you want to join me for that. And I will sit back and enjoy that game knowing United have won today, which is great. Martial's a shout for man of the match as well. I can't wait to do the player ratings on this game if I'm absolutely honest. It's been a real pleasure of a game to watch. Having what, and I know it's not. I think Paul was right at half time. I don't think United have been anything to really say, oh, we're a top four side, but we needed some positivity, and I think you've got to cling on to positivity in life, and I think there is some positivity for Manchester United today, and I'm happy with that, and I hope we can get a couple more. But we've got some big tests to come between now and Christmas, and I'll have a look at the league table actually just very very quickly while this injury to the keeper. But if you look at the league table as it stands at the moment, United with 3 points, we go up into 7th place. So where Bournemouth are, that's where United will be. That's great. That is great. But look at the situation. In 7th place with 16 points, you are still 9 points off Manchester City in 4th. And then if you look at where 16 points could, you're only 3 points off 16th. So you're closer to relegation than you are to top 4. It's a very congested mid-table. And if we were to lose to Sheffield United, I think we would be back in trouble again. But that's why it was so important for United to win today. So important that we won today. Mark, are you getting carried away like the Arsenal fans? Brighton is a pub team, says Zane Miassi. Well, they're not. I don't rate Brighton, Zane. I don't rate Brighton. But the reality is everybody told me that they're a really good team. Look at where they are in the league. Oh, Brighton are really good. So, I don't know. We will. The thing is, time's a great teacher. We will understand how good this performance was. I think we all got carried away with Norwich. We beat Norwich, and then Norwich have lost the next 2 after that. So Brighton beat Norwich, and then we've beaten Brighton. So it's hard to gauge. But I think one thing for certain is that Martial with United better. Everything's a lot better. I think if we were playing Brighton with no Martial, we would struggle today. Zane Miassi, yeah, we've read that one. Sean C. Dan James has been all over the place today. A shame there's nothing on the score sheet to show for it. And United just got a free kick on the edge of the box here. Udit but Naga, you missed my super chat, Mark. I can't read them all out, Udit. I've always said that. I try to read them all out, but if they whiz by, I can't do anything about it, I'm afraid. Free kick to United on the edge of the box here. Rashford's been greedy. Imagine next title celebration whenever it is, says 28 Divi. Let's not get running away with ourselves. Matthias Sir Alex Ferguson is looking older now. He is an old man and he's been very ill. I remember I called 3-1 as well. That with my if I get this right, I've got about 3 of United's scores exactly right in the last few weeks. Fred has been good, says Lars Erik Brobakan. In fact, I'll have got. Well, I don't think I predicted that. I did. I said minimum 3-0 against Partizan, and I got that. I said 2-1 against Chelsea. I got that. I said 3-1 against Norwich. I got that. I got Bournemouth wrong, and I've got today right so far. Over the bar for the free kick. We've had 2 good free kick opportunities in the last few minutes that I think United probably should be scoring from, really. No, I didn't say a draw, Ann Buster. I didn't say a draw. No, I didn't say it was going to be a draw, Kian. Go back and watch the preview. I didn't say a draw. Laugh out loud. AFT me makes me a depressed man like me smile. Arsenal fans are so predictable, says Red Baron. And Udit Naga. Finally a man of the match performance from Fred. Great performance from Williams. United have missed Martial. James is underrated. Some positives for United, definitely. Are you Ollie in now? I hope you are, as I've not agreed with you or rants, anti-Ollie rants. Simply Sofas, you clearly don't watch the channel. I've never been Ollie out. So what I have been is very, very frustrated with the way United have played this season and questioned a lot of things about the club. But I never went as far as to be Ollie out. So, you're getting on at the wrong person. Mark, seriously happy with the result, but come on, look at Leicester yesterday. 10 points difference. Even if Leicester do drop off, is this United team going to be consistent enough? I know the answer. Oh, top 4's gone. Top 4 is gone, and you can meme that as much as you like. Top 4 is gone. We have not got the We have not got the consistency to go and get top 4. Congratulations on 100k subs, Mark. Says 28 Divvy. Yep, that's on That's Football. You can join me for that for Liverpool, Man City. But Brighton have not been in this game at all since that goal. I think they pretty much knew that, United going up the other end, that's how it would go. Hopefully we can build on this now, says XCL. It's such a shame that there is an international break to... because I think the momentum is going to be a problem for us now. Our next game is away from home against Sheffield United. And I don't think we play them till Sunday. So I think it's 2 weeks today. And this has been, whether you like it or not, this has been one of our better performances of the season. So it would be nice to be able to take a little bit of momentum. If Rashford gets 20 goals this season, then I think that's progress. He's halfway there now. Yeah, and I think he can do. And games like this is why I know Ollie isn't good enough. At the minimum, this squad is good enough to produce a performance like this week in, week out. Well, maybe we will. Maybe we will. You won't have to wait. We're not going to have to wait too long, are we, to find out? Maybe we will. Maybe this is the turning of the corner we need. I think when you look at this mini international break, we came back with a draw against Liverpool, didn't we? Or was it? Yeah, Liverpool we drew. Norwich we won. Bournemouth we lost. And Brighton we've won. So we've taken 7 points from 12, which is a mid-table club, which is how we've been playing this season. So I think after the international break, we need to go and win a lot more games. The jury is out. The jury will remain out. But today, I felt we were going to win. And we've won. And we take that positive. And I think that there are more positives today than negatives. I think Brighton have been really poor. But you take what you can get. You take what you can get at this level. Biggie third. Games like this, yeah, we've read that. One more goal, please. (2-0 to Wolves. Mackie says he's so tired of a pathetic Lingard. Big shout out to Fred and McTominay as well. They're playing in the midfield and they've they've never stopped running, and they did both play on Thursday night as well. So that just shows real, energy and fitness levels from them, that they can do that, and we needed them to do that today. But it's a shame. I'd like to see Anthony Martial get a goal. Yeah, I think he's been well worth a goal today. Fantastic performance from him. And you know what? It's going to be a real pleasure to do the player ratings on the match reaction today, because so many times over the last 8 months, it's been, people not even getting an average 6. And then today it looks like we're going to get a situation where we've got some really good high scores, certainly from Williams and James and Martial and McTominay and Fred. I think they've all been absolutely superb. Mark, are you doing Liverpool versus Man City? I'm struggling to see who's supporting that game. Can't they both lose, says Red Baron. Yeah, I think we're all going to be watching that game, aren't we? It's 4:30 kickoff. I will be live on That's Football at 4:30 for that game. Join me for that. I'm going to do my match reaction after this as well. But I want Man City to win, because I don't want Liverpool to win the title. So I don't like Man City, but I want Man City to win. So I will be doing that. You can join me for that, and we'll carry on the chat, of course. But all in all, I think what we found out today is that Manchester United are too good to be around mid-table. Whether we're good enough to be around the top 6, that's the question to be asked. But just taking some notes for the game the match reaction that I really do want to make sure that we get out. Martial is class. I would like James and Martial to get onto the scoring sheet, says Santit Baja. I think they both deserve to be as well. They both deserve to get on the goal scoring sheet, but it's not always about goals. I'm surprised Martial hasn't scored today. He does deserve a goal. He's been superb. But I think Martial is the difference in many games at the moment. Midfield makes a big difference to a team, but it's quality in the final third scores you goals. And Martial's been fantastic today. And he hasn't scored, but he's laid 2 goals on an absolute plate, and that's been really, really important for us. But it's never been a 3. It's not been a 3-1 game. I think United actually should have been boosting their goal difference a lot better than they have done. Okay, and Alligator says, impressed by Williams, does well in the attack, but has good speed to track back in defence. Ashley Young, be gone. Yeah, end of Ashley Young, I think, definitely. Make a note of that as well. So, we're not quite in the 90th minute yet. Arrested Dan James is a bullet, says Sands. I have to stand up again here. And Udit But Naga says, you are losing possession when Bazaka is down on the ground. Finally, first game where I'm impressed with Fred and McTominay. Strong performance. I think the only thing I would say about Fred and McTominay is they have been very inconsistent. And are they good enough against teams like Leicester? We're going to find out. Does Pogba deserve to start when he comes back, says Red Jedi? Yeah, I still... Look, this might be controversial, but I still don't think Pereira, Lingard or Mata are that good. You said 1-1 as your prediction yesterday. Now you'll take your earlier prediction of 3-1. Make your mind up. I said 3-1 in the preview, and I said 3-1 before the game. So 2-1 there, isn't it? I'll take that one, thank Will dependent. But seriously, if it's something that's going to keep you awake at night, you're that bitter, let's just pretend I said 1-1. It really isn't that deep. United have won the game. I don't really give a shit about what my prediction was. I know I said 3-1 before kickoff, and I know I said it on the preview. But if I said 1-1 yesterday, I'll tell you what, for your sanity, let's pretend I said a draw. We've still won. I couldn't give a shit. And can't wait for Norwich at home, says Shadow Clicks. Martial is sublime, says Marva. Young never needs to play again when Shaw is fit, says Paul Robinson. So many conversations about man of the match, which is great. It's great. It's absolutely great. I'm so happy that we're having that conversation about, you know, arguments about who should be man of the match. Shows that we're making some progression. And Rashford has just missed another sitter. It would have been another assist for Martial as well, a hat-trick. Well, Rashford's coming off. And Brandon Williams. And I think that's a clever move by Solskjaer to get some positivity into the team and the fans cheering off two Manchester United youth graduates as well. Very, very clever. Okay. Daniel William Daly says, do you think we were better today than Thursday? Yes, because I thought Partizan Belgrade were a pub team and Brighton are on paper a decent team. So I think you've got to take those positives. I would like to have seen Mason Greenwood come in on a lot earlier than the 90th minute, by the way. I mean, this game's been won for 25 minutes. And I think Greenwood coming on into a game like this, the chances that, like that last chance, I think he would have scored it. We've won every game Maguire's been captain, says Louise Ball. How many games has he been captain, Louise? Late subs again, says Charles B. Yeah, he's just brought Rojo and Greenwood on in the 90th minute. 3 minutes for Greenwood is pathetic, says Andrew Ellis. I'd agree with that. I mean, if you want to pick faults on things, then I think that Greenwood should have been on a lot earlier than that. Marcus Rashford plays every minute of every bloody game anyway, so why does it matter if you take him off for 20 minutes? Martial or Fred, man of the match, says Matthew Little. Well, join me on the match reaction. The link is in the video description. I'll be going through my player ratings, my match reaction, and where I think that leaves Manchester United now going into this November international break. But all in all, a good performance from Manchester United. Please do subscribe to the channel if you're new. Bottom right-hand corner. Lots and lots of shows planned for you over the international break. We're live every night at 8 o'clock. And we've got call-ins and all sorts of stuff going on. So make sure that you join us for that. Bottom right-hand corner, subscribe. Fantastic community. K Chino says, Mark, I just want to say thank you to you and all of the United Stand team for the great content you produce. Great team performance today. Fred is my man of the match. And I definitely want to talk about that in the match reaction. Where does this leave us as Manchester United? Because what I always say when things are positive is, and all the crowd are there chapping and clapping and cheering, does it change anything about the way we're running as a club because we've beaten Brighton? Are we still run by Dracula who suckers dry? Have we still got an incompetent CEO in Ed Woodward? Have we still got players who are inconsistent and spineless? Yes, all of those things. And a win against Brighton will change everybody's perception of that. But that is still true. And that's not me being negative. I'm absolutely ecstatic that United have won because I think they've played really, really well today. And I hope we can get back to being a big club again. But I never think we will with these same owners. And this is why, I've waited for this moment to say this. This is why Manchester United will never, ever, ever be sold by the Glazers because the fans are so fickle. We have a good result and they forget what they think about the Glazers and Woodward. And this is why they survive. Because they forget what they really think. Because a result will change their mind. And I've always said this. People said in the summer, why were you not Glazers out? And I said, I wasn't Glazers out in the summer because I've always been Glazers out. I was Glazers out when we won the Champions League because they're not good for our football club. They've bought us on debt. But people are so fickle with what they think about the way the club's run that when we have a good result, everyone suddenly forgets that we're still run by idiots. Why are we Brexit FC? Man United best players are French. 6782 Anthony. Well, McTominay's actually going off on a stretcher here, which is a real blow. I don't think it is as bad as the stretcher suggests. Thanks for the sticker there, Daft Bastard. He's rolled his ankle, says Mark Hilnock. We're not at full time quite yet. Ollie survives another 2 weeks, says Alfred Big Boots. I don't know about Solskjaer, to be honest with you, and I want to talk about that more on the international break, which we will do. You know, you've got to look at things as a whole, because when you look at things in a minute, that's when you make silly decisions. You've got to look at things as a whole. He's on his feet, McTominay. Well, is that the same ankle he had a knock on Thursday night? Because we all said that was always a risk, wasn't it? He's in a lot of pain, McTominay. Well, that's full time. Thanks everyone for watching. We're going to be doing match reaction, thoughts on Ollie, thoughts on player ratings, man of the match. Link in the video description. I'll be live with you there in about a minute's time. Thanks everyone for watching. Good result for Manchester United. Positivity. Let's take it into the match reaction and discuss where that leaves United now and, you know, what today means as well. I'll see you on the match reaction with the player ratings. I'm sure that's going to go off on who the man of the match is. I'll see you in a moment. Link in the video description.